It is 6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. As the big voice guy just said, Titans Commanders in the nation's capital. Noon kickoff coming up on Sunday. As always, Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio with the call. The Lead Company countdown to kickoff will begin at 9 a.m. Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Joe Jones, Amani Hooker, and Nate Davis did not practice yesterday for the Titans. Thursday night football, a dreadful game. There's no other way to put it. The Colts defeated the Broncos 12-9 in overtime. Ugh. Number 8, Tennessee, the Vols, traveling down to Death Valley to take on number 25, LSU. 11 a.m. kickoff tomorrow. Will Bowling and Ron Slay will be live from Baton Rouge at 8 a.m. right here on The Zone tomorrow, followed by Vol Network coverage beginning at 9. And the NHL regular season begins today. The Preds will face the San Jose Sharks with puck drop at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The game is being played in Prague, Czech Republic, as part of the league's global series. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It's Friday, and we want you to act like it. On our own, Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone, a radio show that scored as many touchdowns as Thursday Night Football did last night in Denver, Colorado. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, my name is Will Bowling, and we are given to you on the radio waves by, well, who many call the best producer in the world.
Oh, 100%, man.
And his name is Jonathan
See,
Schaefer.
I had him doing something right there. My headphones are like abnormally loud right now. But
Mine
they're
are
in the
too,
lowest.
actually.
Mine are too. I think they fixed something in
Somebody messing
No,
around.
I'm okay with it.
You know who I'm blaming it on before we go any further.
The guy who's on after us?
That's who I'm blaming it on Joe Hunk this time.
Oh, wow.
Just
Okay.
because. No, I need to
here.
get
Ease
up
off,
on it.
Hunk, man. Come on.
See, I figured it.
We
He was
don't
doing
start
his
this
baseball
morning off like
podcast
that.
during
Well,
a football game.
It's Friday and we're going to act like it, okay?
Well, then we can beat up on Russ Wilson then.
I
So
came in
what?
today, and they were doing some monkeying around last night. So
Yeah. I mean, this is loud. I can hear
I love it.
myself.
I hear myself
Fantastic.
too.
I started the open of the show. I was like, oh, I can hear myself. This is great.
And then I was like, let me turn this down. Oh, it is down.
Down, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And you introed the show properly too, Will. You said it's Friday and we're going to act like it.
We are. We're going to ride into the weekend, unlike the way the Denver Broncos rode into that game against the Indianapolis Colts, because that is one of the worst wins I have seen in the NFL in recent memory.
That was so pathetic, Will. Why did we stay up that long
I don't know.
to watch it?
Yeah.
I
Because
have
Mo
no
was the
idea.
smart one and went to bed.
I think
Thank you.
I talked myself into at halftime just saying I can sleep on the plane today, going to Baton Rouge. That was
Did
literally
you?
the only reason why I stayed
You
up.
did
Wow.
that?
Yeah. And because I bet the over.
And because I bet the over.
What did I tell him?
I
I
bet
told
the over.
him.
Yes.
I
it's not
told him.
great.
You
And
told him.
I went with you
Well,
too.
it
you
wasn't even.
did.
I didn't even bet the
History,
over.
son.
I bet.
I know, Shay.
I bet an adjusted over. Like I bet the over, and I put it down 7 points, and
Oh,
I
you
still
bought it
lost.
down?
Yeah.
So the only reason I stayed up is because yesterday I said that they were my fraud, the Denver Broncos. And I actually asked if I should change out Russell Wilson for Jared Goff. I got the reassurance from Moan. No, he's back on track.
Uh-oh.
Should have went with my gut. Didn't happen. So I had to stay up to at least come on here to say, at least I talked to you about the Denver Broncos and gave you some warning.
You did. I did tell you. I said, but no. I said Russ had a good one last week as far as fantasy concerned. What I owe you? I owe you some cash, huh?
That's right.
I owe a little bit of cheese,
That's
man.
right.
Dang. See, that's why I tell you, don't ask me for betting advice, okay? Here I was working off my fantasy football emotions and not being real. And just, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Sure.
It ain't a hot take.
Okay.
Russ is
a goober.
And
we've established that at this point.
garbage now.
Hot garbage.
He hot trash right now.
And anything of his posing and his little outfits before, that's not fixing it.
And I saw a clip this morning. He did his presser, and he
don't-
still said,
So bad.
Bronco country, let's
Yep.
ride. I was like, it's Shafe. What was
Don't
that
like
word
that.
you used a second ago?
Goober.
Man.
Let's ride.
That's right.
It's not great.
And he did it just like this, Bronco country. Let's ride. I was, you got to say, I'm finding that clip.
He's got the energy
Yeah.
of your buddy and you knew in high school who was your high school quarterback who acted like he was a 5-star yet
Was a
couldn't-
1-star?
couldn't even be a walk-on
Yeah.
at a Division III school.
He's Uncle Rico?
Yeah, he went to all the camps and he's got all the gear, so he
Rico.
thinks he's legit.
Yeah.
That's basically Russell Wilson at this point.
That sounded kind of personal.
It was
Will.
Al Michaels and Kirk. Well, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit though. Like at some point, they just decided like we're gonna. Like Al Michaels was sick. He was fed up.
He was
in this
sick.
game.
He was like
there was a
running
ball,
to the bathroom.
He was Matt Ryan rolled out or he shuffled out with his cinder blocks on his feet,
God.
to the sideline at one point and threw it deep. And Al Michaels throws, and that is not even close. It'll be second down. And Kirk is just, happy-go-lucky, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
He's still in the honeymoon phase
He's
of calling
still-
NFL games.
exactly.
He was like me when I first started. Like, yeah, everything's all right.
He had some line where he was like, well, this has been a little rough. And Al just goes, yeah, you think? All right, third down. Which you know me, like the cheesy play-by-play sticks is one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
But it was rough.
Oh, by the way, I got to bring it up because my guy texted me this morning, our teammate, okay?
Yes.
Our homie at the zone, Ron Slay.
Oh, Slay.
It was two things that happened. One thing we found out Russ was trash.
Yep.
And Ron Slay's tweets about Matt.
They
what
were
was it? Nathaniel.
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 So why does he call him
Ryan,
Nathaniel
Because he
again?
ain't nothing.
Yep.
Okay, that's what like when you say, man, how good
Because
ain't-
he's not Matt
he
Ryan
ain't
anymore.
Nathan, man. Hey, see, you get it. He ain't So his name now is Nathaniel. Okay.
Yep.
Nathaniel Ryan is his name, and
That's
I'll
so
be real.
funny.
Again, I'm confessing my sins about what I thought about Matt Ryan.
Hallelujah.
I said, okay, I gotta be real because when
Okay.
we wrong, right?
Yeah.
I said, listen, man, Colts are gonna be pretty good. I said, they got Matt Ryan. He didn't have an offensive line in front of him.
Not really an athlete.
He's not really an athlete for real. We see that as he stroked that ball. He's got like happy feet. Phrasing. He's got like happy feet behind any offensive line. And let me tell you, he ain't nothing. What is it? 11 turnovers on the season or 11 fumbles?
He lost another one.
2.
Now he recovered it, but
He lost 2 and
he
lost 1.
Yeah, so that's
Growth. It's growth.
Yeah.
No,
all
but
right.
that's got to be a thing.
You think
Because
it's mental?
I've never seen it that bad.
Man.
I mean, it's not
You're right.
getting better at all.
No.
Did you see what
I'm
Ryan
with
Clark?
you.
Did you see what Ryan Clark tweeted last
saw
night?
it.
What did he? I missed his tweet.
The first ever guest in the history of this show, Ryan Clark of ESPN, tweeted last night, I so shamed. I was wrong about Matt Ryan. I said the Colts would be good. I was super wrong. Like White Sox with black shoes wrong. Raisins up potato salad wrong.
Yes.
I mean, wrong, like old Kanye turning into new Kanye wrong.
I love that.
I should be dang fired, is what Ryan
Dude,
Clark had to
Ryan
say.
Clark for the win.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That is awesome.
That's how wrong I was. I was wrong like riding a bike up a hill on hard wrong. Like that's how wrong I was. You
Yep.
see what I'm saying? Like
You can forget to change the gears and you find yourself
Yeah.
in a predicament.
I was wrong like going out and snowball fighting with no gloves on, okay?
You
Yeah,
were
it's
wrong,
dumb.
like forgetting to fill up your truck last night and almost not making it into work
And he
today.
called you out.
That's how
Boom.
wrong I was.
Interesting.
And
Let's
that
dive
did
into
happen.
that.
That did happen this morning. I saw I had like 50 miles left on my tank yesterday, and I got
Well,
a
on
diesel.
on the Buck Rising adjusted schedule, you were early today. You were early.
Shape, so I get a pass for that.
And if you had,
no, I know I did.
if you had
I
the
know.
under at 6:10 a.m. on the first Buck jab today, you're a winner, and please collect your winnings at the pay window. 615-737-1045 is the number. We continue to. You know what? Instead of asking him questions about IR now, ask him when he's going to unmute our show on Twitter.
I can't believe he admitted it.
When he's going to unmute Ramon,
That was the
Kayla, and
first
Will
time
on
when I
Twitter.
saw that he was
Well,
celebrating.
because he used a celebration of you getting the job to make it about him. And to jokingly say, well, I would have seen this if I didn't have you muted on Twitter. But congratulations, Caleb.
Hey, Josh Bay, I see you in the chat talking about some wrong, like UT being number 8 wrong.
What do you mean?
Oh, wow.
That's my brother-in-law right
Okay.
there, okay? You need to know that. He's in the zone
Friend of the
chat.
show.
Friend
Okay,
of the show.
okay.
A homie, like, for real. That's my
right.
dog I go to bat for. You know that one friend that you be like, man, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
you to death.
Yep.
But he's an agitator. That's who he is.
So you?
Yeah. Well,
So wait, is he a Vols fan?
No, he went to UT Martin. He played football
Okay.
at University
Okay.
of Tennessee at Martin.
Okay.
They
Skyhawks.
Skyhawks. See?
He's not a
Respect.
friend of the show. He's a troll.
He's a troll, okay?
Oh.
And he does it well.
Que no los dos.
Because he know I got on my
He's a friend.
got
Wait.
on my
a friend of
own-
the show.
Yeah, everybody's repping their teams. He's a friend of the show though.
No, he's a friend of you.
He's a
your family.
He won't
the way
admit
he
it.
trolls, he ain't no friend of the show.
That's my cold brother,
No.
But he absolutely dislikes UT now, okay? And I'm like, you got University of Tennessee in your degree,
Let
right?
us be great.
Let us be great. Now he's a Bama fan.
Ooh,
But he
baby.
says he's a Nick Saban fan. I'm like, you can't have both. You can't. So he's in there saying wrong, like UT being number 8 wrong.
Yeah, I'm not a Bulls fan. I'm just a Michael Jordan fan.
Did you see what I'm saying?
I'm not a Cleveland Cavaliers fan.
I'm a
just a big
LeBron
LeBron James
fan.
fan.
Yeah.
Well, that one actually happens, but
Yeah, it does. Or, man, you know what? I was a Cleveland fan, but I'm a LeBron fan, so now I'm a Laker
I love
fan.
New England, but I'm just a Tom Brady fan. I'm not a Tampa Bay fan.
You mean Tennesseans that are, I'm not a Colts fan, but I'm a Peyton Manning fan?
Yeah.
Drove me nuts
No, I
for
don't
over a
like that
decade.
one.
Hand raised. I get it. I get that
in the
one. I
North-
knew those were all
That
my
was you?
friends. It wasn't me, but it was
Yeah.
just everyone that I knew in the world.
Oh my God, Kayla, is it like that in the Northwest though? Like, I'm not an Oregon fan. I'm a Dennis Dixon
No,
fan.
I mean, not really.
not really. Okay, so you are who you are in the Northwest.
Yeah, we don't try to put on no fraud.
Okay,
Can
so
I-
it
can I be
just
honest
means
for a
more in
minute?
the SEC, Kayla.
I prefer you're honest all the time.
Can I be honest for a minute?
Go ahead.
I'm not a baseball fan or a Vandy fan, but I live in Nashville, so I'm a Vandy baseball fan, is what people say. Can we spot the lie on that one?
I swear, I'm looking for.
I'm not
it.
speaking for myself here.
I think is it behind that
Power
chair?
to you today.
Corb's catching strays.
I know, but
That one's more understandable. That one's more
Don't hit
understandable.
on my. Do not.
I know.
Do not send bullets at Corbs. I will
Corbs is
come
off limits.
after
I know.
you.
Corbs is off limits.
Yeah.
That
He
one was
is the
Hey,
only
to come
safe.
after you like a
Yeah,
spider
like
that
monkey.
one was
Yeah.
sarcastic, mostly.
Yeah, but Corbs.
I'm
is-
halfway joking.
He the most solid thing on the West End, though, right? Well, Stackhouse.
Yeah,
Is Stackhouse a
absolutely.
Hall of Famer? I think he is.
Dude, Corbs,
I
do
looked
you know
up
how
to
long
him.
he's been there and won
Oh,
and
yeah.
sent guys to the league who
Oh,
are
yeah.
successful
I mean,
in the league?
they are the status quo, right?
Like,
Like they are the
yeah.
standard. They are the ones who knock.
Like,
He
I know
is the
y'all
one who
got
knocks.
Tony
See where I was
Vitello
going?
over there.
I mean, Kayla, I wasn't gonna bring that
Goat.
up. I appreciate it.
Anyway,
I appreciate you bringing that.
just
up.
to that,
Goat of what?
Hey,
Talk about an
having the
instigator.
best
That was-
regular season team in the
excuse
history of the
him,
sport.
That was toxic. That was toxic Vols right there. Okay, you know we can't let anybody shine.
Grief.
We're ready to go today.
We are.
We
It's
are ready to go
Friday, and we're acting like.
and
Sure
Mo
is.
doesn't have coffee.
Yes, you're
I
being
don't
toxic.
have
Yes,
coffee.
it is Friday and you're being toxic.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
mean,
just
but
will.
Everybody love everybody.
That's what we do. Coming up on the show today at 7:20, Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel. He's making his way to Baton Rouge for Tennessee and LSU this weekend. We'll talk to him as he makes his trip to the Bayou. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, our weekly visit with him at 8:20 today. Keys to the game at the end of the show. And our Friday 5 when we come back. 5 games of the NFL Ramon Foster is most interested in. 5 college games that I'm most interested in. And then later on, Kayla gives her 5 biggest storylines of the football weekend, all things included, later on in the show today, too. We'll hit the quick hits from the Titans practice field yesterday, get you the injury report, and everything you need to know for Titans headlines. This is just going to be one of those shows. I mean that in the best way.
I'm here for it.
I think. We'll find out.
for it.
It's 104.5 The Zone.
I'm always here for it.
Hey, it's Ramon Foster for Window Nation, and forecasters are predicting a colder and snowy winter. And winter is coming up fast. Are you prepared? Have your old windows lost their integrity? Are they drafty, hard to operate, or single pane and inefficient? Single pane windows. Like, well, you got that in your apartment? Do you know? Probably not. You got good windows over there. But the experts at Window Nation can help you prepare your home to defend against colder weather with incredible savings. Right now, get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy and pay nothing till 2025. Imagine how much that 0% financing can save you. No payments till 2025. Add that to thousands more in energy savings over time. Leaves may be falling, but energy costs sure won't be anytime soon. And with expert installation from Window Nation, you'll join over 150,000 smart homeowners who have Window Nation windows protecting their home. Start saving with one call to 866-90Nation or visiting windownation.com. Get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy. That's buy 2, get 2 free with no limits. Plus, pay nothing till 2025. Now, that's the time to winterize your home with great offer before it leaves and rake in savings. Call Window Nation now. Again, 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com and tell them Ramon sent you.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors, 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson with you. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. And Jonathan Schaefer is not only the best producer in the world, he is the best fill-in high school football broadcaster in the world tonight.
Hey, you got a game tonight?
Yeah, helping out Lucas.
Nice.
Going to be there for the first half of Nolensville and Page, and then we got the scoreboard show. Friday night finals following that.
So Jonathan Schaefer will be on the air at 6 a.m. this morning and at 11 p.m. this evening.
Hey, now.
That's what you do when you're the best.
Enjoy.
That's what you do
I know.
when you popping, man.
Because you do it.
Yeah, it's fine.
While
I'm not used
on
to
the
you
air
complimenting
tonight,
me. I don't
you'll
know
be
how
drunk down in Louisiana.
No, I don't know about drunk. I don't know. I've got to be of sound mind to pick up Slade from the airport first.
Well,
Yeah.
when you picking up him at the back, when you picking him up from the airport,
Like 11:30ish.
yeah, you got to be sober.
It's not great.
No.
And then a special edition of the Tennessee Tailgate Show, 8 a.m. right here on the Zone, live from Walk-Ons by Tiger Stadium. I've seen on Twitter that there are a lot of Tennessee fans making their way down for this game. And I was honestly thinking about it last night, guys, that Tennessee's not played in Death Valley since 2010.
Wow.
See, that's crazy to me.
It's ridiculous. There are a lot of people like me that are like, I've never done this trip before.
Yeah.
Tennessee's good. All right. Well, looks like we're going.
That's the thing in the SEC, too, you guys. Since I've been down here, I've started to realize that, and the SEC continues to get bigger, you face teams less and less in terms of some of those matchups.
Right.
And you forget about it because those are the ones you get hyped for, too.
Right.
Like, those are the environments you want to go to and watch those games. They don't happen as frequent as you'd like them to.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard good things, so I'm excited. It's going to be a fun trip. Brought to you by Spring Hill HVAC, Brentwood Hearing Center, helping get us down there. Appreciate them, and looking forward to a fun weekend.
Yeah. As far as like Death Valley, I want to know from your perspective when you get back, like win or loss. Hoping we win, but as far as like fans, I was talking to somebody yesterday about the Tennessee games. Like, man, the environment was just so awesome. And they was like, well, probably because UT won. I was just like,
yeah, you're right.
Okay, but
True.
They were just saying like a lot of like the Vols fans with like Gator fans in Knoxville were just like very cordial with one another. I wonder, will Death Valley be that way? Will Baton Rouge be that way?
I feel like I had a really good interaction with LSU fans always until Will Wade rose to power at LSU.
Will Wade, basketball coach?
Yeah,
and then
ruined
like
everything.
LSU fans took on the personality of their petulant child head coach.
Oh.
Nashville native, by the way.
Nashville native, I was just going to say.
Is he?
From Nashville.
But I feel like now that the dust has kind of settled on that one, I think we can pretty clearly not sugarcoat it when we talk about his era at LSU. But I feel like LSU fans took on his personality. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about this trip, though, man. I'm almost like, damn, I want to go, but got to treat the kids. It's fall break.
You got
so,
kids, Mo.
I got kids.
Will,
Slay and I
Will
will
will have
take
those
care of
soon.
it.
Will got us. I mean, we won't wish kids on Will,
hold your
but
breath.
we're going to
Hold
say
your breath,
Gonna
he
be a
says.
minute.
I mean, we work with a kid every morning.
Pump the brakes.
It's gonna be a minute.
Simmer down.
So we've got two Erics in Nashville on the line.
Yeah.
So I never know how this works.
Both
So
with Cs.
talking about Russell Wilson, Eric on line one in Nashville. What's going on, Eric?
Good morning, Eric.
Hey, happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday.
I hope you're acting like it.
Oh, yes, guys. And also one quick thing, when you talked about Peyton Manning, when he left to go to Denver, a lot of those Colts fans became Bronco fans.
Sure did. Yes, they did.
That's right.
That
they
is
kept-
right.
They kept in the jerseys for that, guys. But, you talked about Russell Wilson. Guys, I don't have Amazon Prime. I didn't see the game last night. But I tell you what, that play kind of reminded people they talk about the Super Bowl play where he threw it instead of running the ball in because Melvin Gordon, the 34 out here, was running the ball well, and they were shocked they didn't run the ball. And, of course, everybody was saying Russ Cook, but if he keeps playing like that, they're going to be saying give him the hook.
They don't give him a whole lot.
Right?
Don't give him walking papers.
But guys, also, who would have ever thought this? Do you know that Geno Smith is actually playing better in Seattle than
Yep.
Russell Wilson is Denver?
Oh, I know,
Also,
Eric. I'm a
and also,
Seahawks fan.
Yeah, and also here's the thing that also surprised me. He's probably Geno Smith and I playing the best quarterback in that division, better than Matthew Stafford, better than Kyler Murray, and better than Jimmy G.
Dude,
or
you're not
Stephen A.
wrong.
Smith likes to refer him to porn star Jimmy. That's what Stephen A. Smith calls stuff. But everybody thought the Seattle beat the worst team in that division, and I'm hearing reports now that apparently that no matter how you feel about Pete Carroll, that he hit a lot of this stuff with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And it's coming out to light, with all these weapons and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But I think Nathaniel Hackett, if it keeps up like this, he could be one and done in Denver because they're not going to get rid of Russell Wilson with all that money they paid him. So we'll see. And guys, real quick about the Titans, guys. I'm real nervous about this Sunday with all the injuries. Hopefully we'll still be able to beat the Commanders, but I'm just hoping we can get out of this pattern of scoring on the first drive like we've done in the last several games. They didn't do enough in the second half. That's got to change. So we'll see. Guys, y'all take care and go Titans. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you, Eric.
Eric was wise this morning.
Yeah, he was.
Ready to go?
Yeah, he was. I rock with Eric.
Broncos country.
He cares a lot about this country.
Yeah, he does.
America.
From Eric 1 on line 1 to a second Eric
E2?
in Nashville. Good morning, Eric, again.
Rocky top of the morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody this morning?
Hey, Eric.
Good, E.
Well, actually, I'm driving through Alabama right now. Me and my dad heading down to Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
We're first of all, I didn't see the game last night again. I don't have Amazon Prime. Actually, it's getting weird though. Mondays and Fridays, me and Eric are calling in back to back. It's getting like
Oh my gosh.
It's happened like 2 or 3 times, yeah.
It's insane. Yeah, he brings it, and I got to follow it up, so I got to step my game up.
That's awesome.
We go. I love it.
Yep.
The only clue I got last night was Ron Slate tweeting out the Nathaniel thing about Matt Ryan, and I just died laughing. What was going on?
You knew something was going on.
Hey, if I need to know anything, I just follow what he's tweeting out. I'm like,
Yep.
Yep. But are we really surprised? I think it was that Peter Schrager guy on NFL Network said, why are everybody on the Colts? Did Matt Ryan all of a sudden become Joe Namath? But anyway, we beat the Colts. Like I said, they can get the number 1 overall pick with Will Levis, and they can lose with a younger quarterback. But the Titans game this weekend, they still got Carson Wentz in Washington. Is he still up there?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Fortunately
And
for the
I'm not
Titans.
worried. Good Lord, the guy couldn't throw his weight out of a wet paper bag. Anyway, but Baton Rouge, we are ready. Outside of this, LSU tweeted out yesterday or the day before, we're going to start selling beer at 9 o'clock when the gates open. And there's a lawyer down there who tweeted out, said, these Tennessee fans don't know what they're in for. And I'm sitting there thinking, we make Jack Daniels up here, right?
Yeah, we do.
They act like we don't put Jack Daniels in our coffee every morning. Especially you got traffic every day. Good Lord. Hey, we ain't backing down. We gonna bring the storm. We wearing the smoky grays. We're gonna smoke it up. We're gonna do everything else.
I like the smoky grays, by the way.
He going through that Alabama
I mean,
highway.
it gets rough down there.
does.
He's
It
definitely
It
driving
gets
through
rough
Alabama
down
because
there.
He sounded a little bit like Jim when, Jim when he's at his honeymoon. And then you have to, and you'll be saved. Jim, no, you're cutting out of the most important part. What are you saying? Just don't call again. Hangs up. 615-737-1045.
That Alabama drive, I hate it, man.
It was bad, yeah.
I don't mind it though because you're getting to the destination. You speed through Alabama to get to the top of Florida or Louisiana.
But there's a stretch.
It is a stretch, ain't it?
If I'm ever driving in Alabama, I feel like I made a wrong turn somewhere.
Right?
So I carry my carry permit through Alabama.
Oh, wow, okay. Anyway.
Did you blame me?
No.
See,
Tweet of the night, by the way, last night, before we get to our Friday Fives and the Titans injury report yesterday. Kevin Clark of The Ringer says Amazon should just sign Lamar Jackson for $500 million guaranteed. And he can enter games like this and just do cool stuff for a while for whichever team needs him.
That's great.
Like a recurring Thursday Night Football character when he's needed. Solves everyone's problems.
It's just been
great.
bad, Amazon.
They're like, we'll pay you that to go out there and help these guys
help
out.
us out.
It's funny,
Yeah.
too. And maybe this isn't funny. This sounds really bad. It wouldn't, based on what I'm about to say. But pardon my take, and Barstool Big Cat on that podcast has said the past couple of weeks that Matt Ryan leads the league in sacks that look like he's about to die.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like sacks where you're like,
No.
he's fine. But like, every time he gets hit, I wince, and I'm like, is he okay?
Yeah.
Like, he literally has been calling it elder abuse at this point, saying Matt Ryan is undergoing elder abuse.
And did you hear him in the booth yesterday, Kurt and Al Michaels.
Yeah,
they were
Al
like,
Mike.
hey, so, we don't usually see Matt Ryan get frustrated. I mean, he's always been a pro. Like, he's never showed his emotions. He's just on the bench like, it's to the point now where you got to realize, like, being Matt Ryan, it's got to be the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
But it was funny because they were trying to stay calm about, he always is, like, really well put together, doesn't show his frustration. It's like, not anymore.
No,
Yeah,
not anymore.
Not great.
The tweets that are about him on social media right now, him and Russ,
It's why social media was created.
they're trending together. Like,
That's powerful.
That's so powerful.
I'm really glad Al Gore-
Mighty
And
Morphin
not in a good
Power
way.
Rangers.
Al Gore invented the internet for situations just like this. He thought in the future and said, there's going to be terrible football on Thursday nights.
Right?
The only thing that was missing last night were the shots of downtown Jacksonville as they came back from break. 615-737-1045 is the number.
Oof.
Titans headlines yesterday. Amani Hooker still in concussion protocol and takes a little bit of a step back from being on the field a little bit on Wednesday. One of 7 players who did not practice for the Titans yesterday, limited on Wednesday, which was a step forward, of course, at the time. The guys that did not practice yesterday: Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Nate Davis, Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, and Joe Jones. Limited was Torrey Carter, Caleb Farley with a knee. That's a little new. And Ben Jones with a back injury, and a full participant, Ugo Amadi, which I think, again, is as positive a news as the Titans could get outside of Dupree and Hooker being healthy.
Exactly. So on the note of Amani Hooker, I did want to add to that because he was, like you said, out at practice that first day on Wednesday. I talked to him briefly in the locker room. He's still kind of going, like you said, through the protocols. And sometimes, Vrabel is really, really big about concussions. He always has been. He always makes sure that he's going through every step with those players. If those players feel like they're having an off day, they want to take a step back, like, they're going to be able to do that. So I think Amani should be good to go unless there's been some significant, pushback. Retracking. But the thing with all these other injuries, I have no worries about Ben Jones. That guy is one of the toughest players I've ever met in my life. He's going to do everything he can to be out there. But some of these injuries that popped up, like the Caleb Farley knee, like, those are the injuries, even if they play on Sunday, you start to think about. Because with Caleb having the injuries that he's had in the past, you can't afford to have any of that.
No. Or have that to where you're not on the practice field.
Exactly.
But this is the other part of it too. Sometimes everything has to be documented. And let's be real too. I think with a lot of these injuries that are popping up, I won't call them small injuries or anything like that. But with what's been assumed about the Titans training staff, we got to start checking on the training staff. There was a bunch of that conversation last year. So I think anything that's happening, they are documenting it just to be safe. I think a good bit of these guys play. I think Caleb's young enough to be out there. Ben Jones having a back. He's old like I was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we all got back issues at this point,
we got
right?
stuff. The Amani Hooker concussion.
Yep.
Remember, we spoke about this too. There are phases now that you got to go through. You're not cleared until you're cleared, okay? So I could see him practicing again today and being active for this weekend.
What about Bud Dupree?
That helped. He dealt with it the week before.
Played 9 snaps against Indy.
Yeah.
Can you expand on when you go into hip injury, because just real quick, I think fans wonder, what exactly is the hip issue?
Yeah.
Is it a bruise? Because that's the thing. A bruise can be almost worse than anything else.
No doubt about it. It can be, like, legitimately. Bud's situation, look at the way he plays. He plays very powerful. And if you look at the way he runs with a gape. It looked like he may have just overextended it a little bit. Again, and this to be true, too, when you have those major injuries like an ACL, like an Achilles, like you affect something else. Like rehab, my brother Nardo had an ACL. Well, guess what happened after that? His back started hurting because you're walking one way and trying to compensate for the knee. I would expect this is just residual from that ACL slightly, but Bud is a very explosive type of dude. Those tendons, that groin hip area and stuff like that is bothersome. And it's one of those things, is like a concussion. Like, you can see a broken bone. Hey, you probably need 6 weeks or whatever the case. Like, those tendon, soft tissue injuries are stuff that really, you can look at somebody. It used to be one of those things where you just soft. Well, now we know more, so we got to treat this a little bit different. It's just like the turf toe. You need time with those types of injuries because those movements, those parts are so crucial to the way you play that you can't allow yourself to push it. When he went out the game before, who did they play? Not Indy. Raiders. When he went out that game, and I saw him recover that fumble in the Colts game. I saw him grimacing. I was like, something's going on. That was it right there. You know, yep, that was the trigger again.
615-737-1045 is the number. When we come back, we dive into our Friday 5 this week. 5 NFL games Ramon Foster is most interested in, followed by 5 college football questions that I have going into week number 6. Look at Kayla's top 5 storylines of the entire football weekend as well as the show continues today. And more of your phone calls at 615-737-1045. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 1045 The Zone.
Hey, it's Jonathan Schaefer for Lee Company. Looking to keep your home in great shape year-round? Sign up for a Lee Company home maintenance plan for $8.25 a month. $8.25 a month. That's it for the Lee Company home maintenance plan. Now, plan members receive 4 service visits a year from the Lee Company team of experts. You get a heating system tune-up, an air conditioning tune-up, an electrical inspection, and a detailed plumbing inspection. 4 annual visits, $8.25 a month. For the very best in-home service, that's Lee Company. 615-567-1000. Call today. You can also visit Lee Company online at leecompany.com. And to find out more about these plans I've been talking about, search Home Maintenance Plan at leecompany.com. You can join that membership, $8.25 a month. That's it. 615-567-1000, leecompany.com. Search Home Maintenance Plan. Lee Company, all you need.
Friday 5 edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson with you. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. 5 NFL games in Week 5 in the National Football League for Ramon Foster to lead us off today. Where are we headed for number 5?
And so we are at a point where there's a new era in Pittsburgh. This Bills-Steelers game. Kenny Pickett's first start in the NFL on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Whew. You got Von Miller telling him, hey, nobody's calling y'all an underdog. We didn't call you that. Come in and play us right, man. I think they're favored by a good bit going there. Rookie quarterback, new era for Pittsburgh. They're excited, but I just don't know if young Kenny Pickett know what he gets himself into, man.
Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, handshake, starting their careers against the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, indeed, man. That's one of my top 5s of the week. This could also mean if Pittsburgh lose this could be a snowball effect of loss after loss. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but it looked like they might take a L on this one, Will. Dolphins, Jets.
Oh.
Yeah. Tua being out.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, man. You see what I'm saying? Like,
you know what his nickname is, right?
And what's that? Cover Teddy?
Spready Bridgewater.
Spready
because he always covers the spread.
But I'm looking at this though, and the Jets aren't a bad team. They ended up coming into Pittsburgh and winning right now. They sit at 2-2. They can get a one-up on the team. I think that's very good in the AFC East, man. With Tua being out. Teddy's a veteran guy, but Zach Wilson looked the part last week.
I was going to say, what do you make of the Jets right now?
They looked the part. Corey's making plays, man. They got young wide receivers making plays. The offensive line hasn't been bad. Watching the way Zach Wilson has been tossing the ball around, I love him. Like, after watching, I was like, okay, I can see why you go get him. His confidence looks so much different right now.
I'll tell you who I like on the Jets is Breece Hall.
Yes.
Young running back out of Iowa State. A guy that if you're in a PPR league and you've got him in fantasy, he catches a lot of footballs.
Yeah, man.
And he is a dynamic player for them on offense.
Yes, he is. Ended up getting the go-ahead touchdown last week. Well, I don't even know if it was go-ahead. He just scored on them last weekend in Pittsburgh, man. Yep. But Zach Wilson, I'm really interested in see him having another good week. But not just that, this Dolphins team who started it off really, really good. I mean, without Tua in, I want to see this offense. And if Mike McDaniel can continue on this level of play that they've had under Tua, man. So that's why that one's interesting.
And also, in his first year, how to overcome something like that, losing your quarterback right now.
Yes,
indeed. See how big of a coaching phenom he is.
Exactly.
I think that's big.
There we go. See, my number 3 game, Rams-Cowboys. Two good defenses. Well, I'll say this, 2 all-world guys. And yes, I'm calling this second-year guy an all-world guy. Michael Parsons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Watching what he can do against AD Aaron Donald. Like, that matchup right there has to be something we as fans are watching because I feel like at this point, we're watching Aaron Donald be at the point where I might retire to where Michael Parsons like, I'm here to wreck stuff. And just watching this offense again, if what's the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback right now?
Cooper
Rush. If he can continue this on, and I'll be real with you, as toxic as Cowboys fans are, I want to see this, hey, we don't need that conversation kind of rise up a little bit.
Who is going to pay Cooper Rush $30 million next year?
Right. That's good.
Colts.
And this is my question, too. As much as we hate on Mike McCarthy, at least I do, I feel like Cowboys fans are kind of starting to like him down there and what he's doing. He's sticking up for Jerry, or he's sticking up, to Jerry a little bit. Now that he's winning, he can do that.
That's true.
So
they can go to 4-1 on the season. So this is a nice matchup. Number 2 matchup, Chiefs-Raiders. Chiefs-Raiders. Raiders just got their first dub of the year. Chiefs, of course, are the powerhouse that they are. I almost feel like any matchup that Patrick Mahomes is in, you got to watch it. Yep. But this is also an AFC West game for me. Being able to see these 2 teams come to a head and honestly look like the Raiders had a touch-up offense getting that first dub is why that's interesting to me. Interdivision games, to me, weigh a whole lot differently. Simply because Broncos look bad. And you got 3 teams now that I guess since we can cancel out the Broncos, you say to yourself, well, this could be an interesting race. You just never know what's going to happen in division games, Will.
And Kansas City is the only team with a longer road divisional winning streak than the Tennessee Titans right now. Titans have won 9 straight division games on the road. I believe it's 13 for Kansas City, the only team with more at this point.
Oh. And my number 1 game of the week, Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Cincy, who you said is real.
Yeah.
And the Ravens.
It's
I
not.
think it's going to be good.
It's not a loser leaves town game. It's like someone is for real and someone's fraudulent.
Yeah.
Not quite loser leaves town.
yeah.
Last night was a loser leaves town game.
Yeah, they got to go last night.
Right.
But this game right here intrigues me. Two young stud quarterbacks, man, with two very young teams on top of that. Defenses are very solid. Yep. This is whoever wins pretty much can take the stronghold of the AFC North. This will be a battle, man. I wonder, can that Cincy defense contain Lamar? And I also wonder, can Joe Burrow be the guy that just spins it through the air and you're like, yeah, You called him out. You said you think he's that good.
He's been better. He hasn't thrown an interception in the past, couple games? So I feel like, minus the concussion article that came out yesterday, which was a little bit disturbing, I feel like Joey B has these guys kind of back on the right track. Yeah. It's better than, in my opinion, starting off strong and starting to lose it a few games in.
They are, 2-2 on the weekend. I mean, 2-2 on the season. And just in general, this, if you're going to have a primetime game, to me, this is the game you have.
Absolutely. And it's rare, and we got to enjoy it while we can, because next week it's Bears Commanders on Thursday Night Football.
Can we just cancel that?
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Right?
Every time we insult the Washington Commanders, we have to do the jingle of the insurance commercial that they've commandeered. Sheesh. Literally commandeered. Pun very much intended. 615-737-1045. There is Ramon Foster's Friday Five. And when we come back, we take it to the world of college football. Top 5 games that are not happening at Baton Rouge that we are most interested in, and the questions that I have. Starting guys in Tuscaloosa.
Okay. Really?
Where Nick Saban says that his players and his team doesn't care about the NIL comments and the conversations that went on between his team and Jimbo Fisher's over the offseason. We'll see if that's really true. We'll start off with that. We'll continue the conversation on the phone lines as well at 615-737-1045. One fast hour down and 3 more to go on the Friday edition. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all 4 seasons of 1045 The Zone.
Hey, it's Schaefer for Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Fall is here, and that's the best time of the year to aerate, seed, and fertilize fescue in Tennessee. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply has the right products and advice that you need to keep your lawn looking great going into winter. October is the best time to seed cool season grasses like fescue, and Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply offers professional advice and know-how to DIY your lawn and landscape care. Plus, Dickens is also your source for Toro equipment, parts, and service. Dickens carries genuine Toro parts and lubricants for your lawn equipment and also has Toro certified techs that use genuine Toro parts on service and repair at each Dickens location. Buy where the pros buy and buy Toro where the pros buy. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. 10 locations. 8 in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Cool Springs, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Mower, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin, Knoxville, and Maryville in East Tennessee. If you can't get a hold of them, check them out online, DickensSupply.com. 7:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Titans, Commanders, noon kickoff. League Company countdown to kickoff Sunday begins at 9 a.m. Of course, it'll be Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio with the call. Mike Keith will join us at 8:20 today during Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Joe Jones, Amani Hooker, and Nate Davis missed practice on Thursday, did not participate. Thursday night football last night, dreadful. It was awful. The Colts defeated the Broncos 12-9 in overtime. No touchdowns in that game. Ugh. Number 8, Tennessee at number 25, LSU tomorrow, 11 a.m. kickoff for that. Will Bowling, Ron Slay, Tennessee Tailgate Show live from Baton Rouge at 8 a.m., followed by Vol Network coverage beginning at 9. And the NHL regular season begins today. The Preds will face the San Jose Sharks with puck drop at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The game is being played in Prague, Czech Republic, as part of the league's global series. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on here over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The show goes on into hour number 2 on the Friday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Crew's all here. 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, and the best producer in this world. There's no way to know how many worlds there are, but in this one, Jonathan Schaefer is the best in the world. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in as we give you our Friday fives. Ramon Foster's 5 in the NFL, my 5 in college football coming up, and Kayla's just over the entire football weekend of what we're looking forward to the most. That may have been the fastest hour, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I'm going to pat ourselves on the back. That might have been the fastest hour we've done yet.
It was really quick.
It's a good one. Jonathan Schaefer is going to insult me or say something, bring me back down to earth a little bit, so hit me.
No, you can't expect it all the
that's not a
time.
bad
Will.
thing.
Yeah. This
I'm
ain't
kidding.
pile on Shafe Day over
No, I
here,
just saw
okay?
you quickly come to the microphone, and I was preparing myself.
Wasn't going to say anything.
I don't think we've heard best producer in the world today, though.
The best producer
There
in
you
the
go.
world.
Oh, the world, Craig.
World.
The world.
Kayla gets it.
Ramon, what I just did was when Jim loses his cell phone in the office and Dwight is doing his Knights of the Night meeting. He keeps he's like, so you're gonna make fun of us and how our leader talks? We're the Knights of the Night. Yeah, over the line, Jim. And Jim's like, just looking for my cell phone, man. Anyway,
I don't remember that
everything's an office quote. Friday 5 in the world of college football. Number 5. I'm gonna start off in Tuscaloosa. My question is, how badly does Alabama run it up on Texas A&M? And does Alabama care enough about this game to play Bryce Young?
Yep, that's what. Mm-hmm.
Jalen Milroe, the redshirt freshman, comes in, helps Alabama finish off Arkansas 49-26. Bryce Young, 7 of 13, 173 in that game. Jalen Milroe had 6 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown in that game. Max Johnson, by all accounts, broken bone in his throwing hand, done for the year. Mm-hmm. So it's Haynes King again at quarterback for Texas A&M. I don't know, Kayla. I think if I didn't learn my lesson about betting the under last night, I might do it in this game.
I think you might want to do that. Look, Texas A&M is in a free fall, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, and
Jimbo
it's
Fisher.
fantastic.
And Jimbo Fisher, I mean, I know that it's a lot to get him out of that contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if there's an Aggie, there's a way in terms of they'll do it.
What?
What?
A guy said
Farmers
on
fight.
a guy said on Feinbaum the other day that with that $80 million buyout,
Yep.
hiring a hitman's cheaper.
Oh.
I mean, it's going.
You know what, though,
When they
Kayla,
say
to your
it just
point?
means more. That's what they mean.
To your
By
point,
the way.
Kayla,
It really does.
you've been around this business. You've covered people before, too. Like, you journalists with a big J, okay, out here. We got credit because of that, Will. Look at us. Not just two guys anymore.
Capital
no.
J with bold letters.
Bold. Oh, See?
That's right. You get both
underlined?
of those. Wow.
Or is it underlined too?
I don't like underlined.
You sign
That's
off with
tacky.
that?
After the weekend, we'll
Underline's
see if it's
tacky.
italicized.
Okay.
I'm not a big underline guy.
Yeah, it's tacky.
With that being said, though, the fact that we are even discussing this buyout,
Is a thing.
Every time we
it
go
has to be a thing,
Every
right?
time we
Yeah.
go to Buc-ee's, we're paying Jimbo Fisher's buyout.
Why is that? Why is
It's a
that?
Texas A&M family
Yeah.
that runs that.
That's probably why they're opening them up
I
everywhere.
mean, honestly.
I
They've
gotta
got
get my
a-
Got
family.
one in
got a
Clarksville
plan.
now.
I gotta get my family doing stuff.
How
man.
many Buc-ee's Nuggets will it take to get Jimbo out of there?
Wait,
615-737-1045. Let us
this is
know.
the thing. Are we surprised by anything in college football these days when it comes to buyouts, coaches moving? They always find a way. That's a
Right.
lot of money, but we keep saying that. Every year we say, well, that's a lot of money to buy that coach
That's
out.
true.
It doesn't matter.
I feel like
It feels like there's endless money in
That's
some of
true,
these
Kayla.
programs.
$90 million, though.
That's a lot. No, it is.
That's a new level.
But what if they keep losing? What if they're
Yeah.
only adding to the conference, guys?
Yeah. If they do this is gonna. If they buy Jimbo out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this changes everything as far as college coaches go. To me, in
Yeah.
a lot of different ways, like it becomes like the pressure to win now, and also the pressure on the pressure on old coaches to get out of their stagnant ways.
Yeah.
Is that another one too?
Because Nick Saban's really been the one that has been able to adapt
Yeah.
and do things, with the offense that what he did. And he brings in coordinators that, kind of keep up with what's happening now. But I think some of those old coaches, like you mentioned, they just stay in their ways. You can't do that now, especially with the transfer portal.
There we go,
It's a whole
Kayla.
new world. Is that Aladdin?
No, it's a
whole new world?
New world.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
I didn't close my eyes.
That's the next line of the song.
Oh,
A new fantastic
Someone put you in the Aladdin vest.
a
the
new
other day.
fantastic point of view for
Yeah.
Ramon Foster. Number 4.
you know what?
I'm
I
ridiculous.
hate it here.
Number 4 is Kentucky going to continue to be the Tennessee Titans of the SEC? And what I mean by that is when they beat not great teams, they don't have a lot of style points in the process. They run the football. And I think this Kentucky team, I'm not going to so just like last week, I didn't put Alabama on upset alert against Arkansas.
Right.
I put them on upset watch.
Okay.
I was not
Okay.
going to give an upset warning. I just, you're just, in the area, these counties until 7:30 p.m. Just be aware.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this season as the quarterback for South Carolina. But Kentucky has not taken the ball away much from opposing offenses. Wildcats have a -3 turnover margin this season, including that big fumble against Ole Miss that ultimately cost them that game. South Carolina has been one of the best teams for a Mark Stoops team to play. He's 7-2 against South Carolina. One of those losses coming in his first season when Kentucky went 0-8 in the SEC. But Spencer Rattler was better against Arkansas, 24 of 39 in that game for 377, a touchdown and a pick, and then goes 13 of 25 against Georgia. The question I have for this one is, can Chris Rodriguez come back and be the Chris Rodriguez we know for Kentucky? Ran for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns against South Carolina in 2020. Ran for 144 last year against South Carolina in the Wildcats win. Did not really did not make a big impact. Him and Cavassier Smoke against Ole Miss in the
That's
running
like
game.
the best.
So
It sure
Cavassier.
that's one of the best names in football
Yes,
this
come
year.
on.
Cavassier.
So
Yeah.
that's the question I've got for that one.
The thing I worry about with Kentucky is this, man. As of late, I won't say Will Levis hasn't been on, but there's pressure, and I think there's a push for the Will Levis, like, Superman plaque that they're trying to give him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Rodriguez back. Like, why are you pulling the ball in any instance on the road against an SEC opponent in Oxford? Like, that to me was the most telling thing of it all when it came down to, yes, I know he's good. Yes, I know he's like a vet when it comes down to this as far as him playing in college sports. It's like in the hooker.
Yep.
Put the ball in his hand. I just don't know if Kentucky need to be trusting Will Levis as much as they are when you got a good. Like,
Yeah.
where's the OL? Like, you're not even giving those guys time to mesh.
bad.
Most of what you're doing is throwing the ball because of Will. Like, this is bad. This is coaching looking bad right here.
Which is bizarre because, in
Yeah.
my opinion, Mark Stoops has proven to be a really solid head coach in college football.
Exactly.
And mad respect for him for staying at one place when he could go other places.
Yep.
You brought up Will Levis. Obviously, I think he's going to play. That had been the question. I don't know if you heard Mark Stoops this week. They were trying to get a lot out of him, and he was like, wait, you want me to just tell you the whole report here for South Carolina? But it looks like he's going to play. That's a tough SOB, too. Popping his finger back in last week.
Gosh.
But for South
Disgusting.
Carolina, too, Will, you brought up Spencer Rattler. Talk about a guy who went from being a Heisman favorite, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, who has completely fallen off the map. It's like you wonder, too, with the pressure put on quarterbacks in the college this time of what we're living in terms of NIL, that's up, how much really continues to pressure you mentally.
Yeah.
Because this guy has never really bounced back, in my opinion.
No, he hasn't.
So Mayo Watch 2022 is well underway. I guess I should say Mayo Watch 2023. I'm on the record that if Will Levis goes number 1 overall, I've got to drink coffee with mayonnaise in it.
That's just the
Todd
most
McShay
disgusting
says
thing.
literally as early as this week, like the day after I made that proclamation earlier this week, that he has a number 1 in his mock draft based on what he's hearing right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, well,
Quit trying to make Will Levis happen.
that will happen here on our show.
Well, there's a whole lot of pressure on
Really
you
hope
right
not.
now.
Really hope not. I'll give one more. I'll give my number 3, and then we'll do my top 2 after we talk with Mike Wilson coming up in the next segment. Arkansas and Mississippi State is my number 3 game. Can Arkansas look like the team that I think they are? I think Arkansas is still the 4th or 5th best team in the SEC. I think they are much better than what their ranking is, or really lack thereof, at this point. But the Arkansas defensive front against Will Rogers is a fascinating matchup. Because Will Rogers is coming off of his 13th 300-yard, 3-touchdown passing performance in 27 career games. Unbelievable. Leads the SEC in yards per game, touchdowns, and completion percentage at 73%. But Arkansas is second nationally with 21 sacks. 8 defenders have at least 1 sack this season. Drew Sanders is the name that people are not talking about enough on that defense. You think about Bumper Pool because, A, he also has a terrific name. B, because he's been there since the Reagan administration. But Drew Sanders leads FBS with 6.5 sacks and is tied for 14th with 7.5 tackles for loss. KJ Jefferson, not confirmed that he's going to play. So might be looking at a backup quarterback there for them. Sam Pittman did confirm earlier this week he will travel and be a part of the 70-man travel roster for the game in Starkville. So this one is fascinating to me. This is kind of a separator of who is in that second tier of SEC teams and who's kind of at the bottom of that group.
Yeah, no. It should be a good weekend, Will. That's just where I'm at, man. I think it's going to be the game that we need, dude. So we will see.
Well, and here's the thing, mixing up, I'm an AP voter, and so for every week, it's
You are?
juggling. Yeah, so it's juggling like so many
Capitalize the
different
J.
games. And I'll tell you what, it's really hard with some of these games that you see these teams and they come out and you see them perform early on and you're impressed with what you're seeing out of Arkansas, and then they're going through a little bit of a dip. So actually dropped them out of my poll this week and clearly brought Mississippi State into the poll. But right now it's still such a plug in, plug out kind of towards the bottom of the polls right now. This is a big game for me as a voter looking at this too. Like, is Mississippi State really this team that we feel like is a top 25 team? Or is Arkansas just having some growing pains right now?
State always does this stuff. Under a current head coach, he's always a guy that gets hot, and then it's like, everybody figure him out again, or it's just the wet blanket get thrown on their season every single year. It seems like.
Coming up next, we continue the conversation in the world of college football. We talk a little bit of Tennessee LSU with Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel. He's on his way to the Bayou, and we'll get his thoughts on where this game is won or lost for Tennessee, and the stat that's going to surprise you about LSU's record in noon games. For all the talk about Saturday night in Death Valley, LSU's still pretty good when the sun is up as well. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Mike Wilson next on 104.5 The Zone.
Summer's over, but that joint pain is still there. Hey, it's Ramon Foster. I want you to call QC Kinetics now because you've put it off long enough and it's time to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees and back and shoulders and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Regenerative medicine uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. Lots of people here have already done this, and they are living life to the fullest, pain-free. So don't assume the old ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. Call QC Kinetics today. Stop putting it off. Call now for a free consultation at 615-249-4024. Again, at 615-249-4024.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. As we get ready for Tennessee and LSU, you're going to hear me and Ron Slay broadcasting live from walk-ons, walking distance from Tiger Stadium tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Should be a good time. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson with you. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen as we go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, joined by Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel. Good morning, Mike. How are we doing?
We're doing great. I'm currently getting scolded by Grant Ramey for running 20 minutes late this morning as we attempt to leave for LSU. And that's my fault. I have no excuse.
Snap and clear. We'll be better tomorrow. Mike,
We won't.
people.
We
Okay,
won't.
perfect.
He's just honest.
I was just reading a tweet from Blooper, the Braves mascot, a minute ago, who said people will call baseball boring and then watch this Broncos Colts game. Just your thoughts on that comment, Mike.
I mean, there's nothing boring about Blooper. First off, that is the most electric mascot in sports
It's
history
factual.
as far as I'm concerned. Those people who run that social media account make me wish that I had any form of humor because I'm not funny when I read their stuff. I feel very, very boring.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so Tennessee and LSU tomorrow. Where is this game won or lost in your eyes?
Yeah, I think turnovers is probably a key place. These are the two best teams in the conference in terms of turnover margin. LSU leads it at +8. I think Tennessee's at +3. Hendon Hooker is throwing, 2 interceptions as Tennessee's starting quarterback. Continuing that streak, I think, is something key here. Because I do think Tennessee has a good shot to leave with a win, but turnovers are definitely a way that they can flip that in the wrong direction.
Excuse me. As far as Tennessee defending Jaden Daniels, that's been the one thing since Ole Miss. I continually bring this up from almost everyone just to see what's the explanation for getting this mobile quarterback down to not extend those drives on a defense that's, really reeling at times.
Yeah, and that definitely, that Ole Miss example of Matt Corral last year, that was Tennessee's huge struggle. Was even if they tried to have a spy on him, Corral was still kind of owning that middle of the field, whether it was on the ground or through the air. And I think that is the question mark. If Tennessee can contain Jaden Daniels, I think you saw their game plan against Anthony Richardson was very much keyed on stopping the run, and obviously They gave up a huge number of yards through the air to a guy who didn't ever do any damage through the air. So it's finding a way to do both of those things well, and we haven't seen Tennessee's defense do that yet under Josh Heupel. It's definitely a question mark. And Daniels is a more known dual threat candidate than what Tennessee saw with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and Mike, with that, what are the expectations, obviously, for this Tennessee defense in a game like this? Obviously, a bigger environment, a more hostile environment than they probably saw at Pitt.
Yeah, I think for starters, you try to give up less than 500 yards passing, like you did at Florida. That would be a good first step for Tennessee. You've got to get better play from the corners. I mean, that's very obvious, very necessary. Those guys just aren't getting it done right now, and obviously with Warren Burrell out for the season, that's your most experienced guy lost. I think you've got to see Christian Charles become a dude at that position because that's a guy going into the year that you talked about maybe being a rising star and a guy who could get it done there. But you've also got to get Kamal Haddon playing good football again because he probably is Tennessee's best corner without Warren Burrell.
Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. What is a reasonable expectation for D. Williams, the junior college transfer who we're expecting to make his debut in a Tennessee uniform tomorrow?
Don't suck.
Perfect.
Probably a good
That's what Jonathan
place to
Schaefer
start.
tells me every morning when the show starts.
Yeah, well, that's what Tennessee's cornerback did against Florida, right?
That's right.
And Brandon Turnage went in there and didn't get it done. Kamal Haddon got the final interception, but struggled. Christian Charles was in and out. Those guys just didn't get it done. So, frankly, if you can perform at an adequate level and be consistently adequate, you're going to get some snaps right now because that's just how badly that unit played, and they've got to get better production there. I mean, this is the number 8 team in the country when you're talking about the offense they have.
Yeah.
You cannot make that argument for this defense, and the units have to match up or at least get close to it at some point.
So go ahead, Will.
Michael, which player do you feel like benefits the most from this bye week and steps into a bigger role after this kind of first phase of the season is done? Is there anybody you feel like we're going to see more of coming out of the bye week?
I want to see Jabari Small. Jalen Wright has been the better running back so far, and obviously Jabari Small has been hurt a little bit. He's been dinged up, but this is an offense that allows multiple running backs to succeed just like it does at wide receiver. And Jabari Small is the guy that we all expected to be the lead back this year. He's been the number one guy, but he hasn't necessarily played like the lead back. I think apart from fumbles, that's been Jalen Wright. So Small getting a chance to get healthy, come out of this and perform, I think that's a really, really good one. I also think defensively, you talk Omari Thomas. I think that's a guy who's starting to figure out really how to play that position on the interior of the defensive line. And if the defensive line can start playing better, maybe it makes those cornerbacks a little bit better too, because they don't have to cover for quite as long.
That's where I was going to – you took my thunder right there. This D-line, it's got talent. It's got some young guys. It's got some older guys too. What's been the issue as far as getting to the quarterback, getting him down?
Yeah, I think we saw against Pitt they did a great job of that. Obviously, Slovis got hurt, and then the backup had a kind of a bum leg going on, so it's a little bit easier to get him down. But they didn't do that great against Florida, which obviously has a higher talent level. LSU, higher talent level. So you're going to face that. I think the pressure on the edges is where Tennessee's got a shot. I really like the young guys there. I think Joshua Josephs looks like a future star. James Pierce looks good. Elijah Herring has kind of played that Sam backer spot in third down. He looks like he can get it done. I think they've got potential there to do it. They've just got to be sound on the inside, which they haven't always been, especially against mobile quarterbacks who can leak out up the middle there and make some plays.
Mike, it looks like Cedric Tillman probably not going to play this week. If you could just give us an update on him. Also, just with Jalen Hyatt stepping up right now and some of those other guys while Tillman has been out.
Yeah, Josh Heupel's comment yesterday was that Tillman's been able to move around at practice. They'll figure out today with the medical staff whether he can go or not. That's kind of that usual company line on Thursday that doesn't exactly lead itself to optimism that Cedric Tillman will go. High ankle sprains are not short-term injuries necessarily, so they can be tricky. And Tillman's been out since September 17th, so it's still a relatively quick turnaround to come back. So I'm not expecting to see him out there. But Jalen Hyatt, as you mentioned, he was a guy last year going into the season. You talked about Tennessee's receivers as Velus Jones and Jalen Hyatt. Those were the two guys that were going to have breakout awesome years. It happened for Velus Jones. It happened for Cedric Tillman. Didn't happen for Jalen Hyatt, but now it is. He looks like a bona fide star at this point, and a guy who can get it done. Brew McCoy is getting it done. Ramel Keaton is having a late career renaissance of some sort, and he's burst onto the scene in a big way. So Tennessee's got dudes there still.
Yeah, certainly do. Mike Wilson with us this morning on 104.5 The Zone. It's a homecoming for Dylan Sampson tomorrow, Mike. Is he a guy you also think could be a bigger part of this Tennessee offense coming out of the bye?
Yes and no. I think his role is predicated, obviously, on the way that Jabari Small and Jalen Wright are playing in front of him. He's definitely the third back at this point, and he's comparable to Jabari Small. So if Jabari's playing well, you're not going to see a lot of him. But, yeah, he's a guy who's from down that part of Louisiana, so I'm sure that it's an exciting moment for him to go back and play at LSU, and hopefully he at least gets some special teams opportunities. But, yeah, with the pace of the offense, there's always room for more running backs to get a couple snaps.
Mike, this LSU offensive line has allowed 16 sacks this season, second most in the SEC. They start 2 freshman tackles for the first time since 1985 at LSU. Do you feel like that's Tennessee's biggest matchup advantage is their front seven against LSU's offensive line?
It's a great stat, Will. I like that. I wish I'd written that this week.
Oh,
that would have been great.
Will was not
should have had me on Monday, man. Yeah, I would have sounded smarter this week. It's a good one. Obviously, Tyler Barron has a lot of experience coming off the edge there on the defensive line. Byron Young is an edge rusher, ton of experience as well. So that is an opportunity where you could see those guys take advantage of it. And again, everyone knows the defense ties together. If the line plays well, it makes life easier on the corners. And Tennessee needs to make life easier on its corners because those guys haven't gotten it done.
When it comes to this team, though, going to Death Valley, going to Baton Rouge, man, are they mature enough to actually handle this? Like, you got guys like T. Higgins tweeting about who should Chad Ochocinco be watching, and he's got Hendon Hooker. Like that was a real tweet. Can this team as a whole, though, handle this expectation moving forward, considering Jeremy Pruitt era?
We're going to find out, and we're going to find out pretty quick. But I think when you talk about Hendon Hooker, that's what matters. If a quarterback goes out there and is calm and composed in an environment like this, that trickles down to everyone else. That's just the way that it's going to operate. And for Tennessee, Hendon Hooker is a guy who's played a lot of football. He's a mature guy. I think he's 24. So he's a guy who probably isn't going to be rattled and shaken by much at this point. And LSU is as good a test as any to find out if you are shakeable, because it's an environment that's going to be rowdy, even if it is an 11 a.m. local kickoff.
Yeah, and again, with who's the wide receivers you see stepping up if Tillman is the guy that kind of, I don't think he's playing this week. Do you expect Squirrel? You expect, like Walker Merrill? Like, who's the guys that's going to be looking for those touches since Tillman is not in this week, I'd expect?
Yeah, I'd expect Ramel Keaton to be the starter at that spot then, just like he was in the last matchup in Florida. Walker Merrill is another guy who's been an outside receiver. We've seen Squirrel more on the inside at slot.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of that mix you'll see, though, is those guys getting opportunities, but Keaton and Merrill probably lead the candidates there in terms of guys who step into that role, and obviously Brew McCoy and Jalen Hyatt see more featured roles than they even already do.
And I have to just go off task a little bit here and ask you guys, what's the first thing that you're going to do when you get down to Baton Rouge? And Will's talked about it all week, so.
Yeah.
Eat.
Yeah.
Eat is definitely high on the list. Big fan of finding the good places to eat, and I'm a big fan of any form of Cajun and Creole type dishes. So I'm ready to come back overweight.
I was going to say, I think the first thing I might do is just find Mike and Grant wherever they are eating tonight,
perfect.
honestly, Mike. So you might be getting a text from me later today.
That's not the worst idea I've ever heard. Although it's also definitely not the best idea I've ever heard.
Perfect. Thank you. Oh, the not the best idea. We had Bob Kessling on yesterday, and I mentioned that Ron Slay and I were doing a show live from Baton Rouge tomorrow morning, and he gave me his thoughts and prayers of keeping that man just stable and with his shirt on going into the game.
Yeah, that you should live stream that. Like that sounds like some good content for the new show, guys. Like you could really start off strong that way.
Not a bad idea. You're giving me stats and you're giving me content advice. I love it. Mike, last one for me. Tennessee's defense ends up making enough plays against Pittsburgh to win them that game. Obviously, the opposite was true about Florida. They almost made enough plays to lose Tennessee that game in the second half. Which is truer to the identity of who this team is on defense? And kind of what is the expectation for you just going into this game specifically for how they're going to play?
Yeah, I think the hard part with answering that is Florida's easily the most talented team that Tennessee has played.
Right.
And that's where you saw them really struggle to do that. Pitt, again, they were facing a backup quarterback who couldn't move. I might have had an opportunity to get a half sack in that game. Not a full sack, a half sack. I don't want to get carried away and boost myself up too much here. We're going to find out in this game which case is more true for Tennessee's defense, because this is now the second time they've seen a talented team with a quarterback that can do things through the air and on the ground. We really didn't get a taste of that in other matchups. So I don't know is my answer. I don't know which one is more true, but I will know Sunday, I think.
Can this team, though, operate without those explosive plays? Like, that's one thing we saw in Florida was the confusion from Florida's defense. Now, hoping we see that for everybody else, but that's one thing that's helped this team thrive is, other than, like, Brew's sideline catch in Pitt, like, it's been wide open shots. Like, can they thrive without those?
Hey, what's that saying? The best way to eat an elephant's one bite at a time.
Okay.
That's next week.
I think. Oh, that's right. I get the mascot so confused. The elephant thing just doesn't tie in anywhere, so it's really confusing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think this offense, because of the tempo, I mean, you take 4 or 5 yards at a time, you're going to generate enough first downs and score. They're able to do that. I think there was that really nice drive. You talked about the 99-yard drive against Florida. Obviously, the 43-yard pass to Keaton, but everything else was pretty quick and short, between that 6 to 10-yard range at most. And they got it done that way, covering 99 yards in about 2.5 minutes. So I think they're capable of it. Are they capable of it in a road environment against a pretty good LSU defense with a lot of good DBs like always? We'll find out again.
Yeah.
I love it. Mike Wilson, our guest here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Mike, on the way out, on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous were you in the 9th inning of the Braves 2-1 lead over the Miami Marlins the other day?
I'm still unwell. It might be allergies. It might be Braves nerves. It's hard to know this time of year because October is terrifying.
So just a disclaimer to everyone else in the room here. Like Mike and Grant are the people that I text anytime anything happens with the Braves. And I did a podcast with both of you in 2020 at one point where Grant basically called the fact that the Braves were going to overachieve and we're going to be complaining about, we can't go to the pandemic NLCS because the Braves are going to be in it. And Mike and I are just, no, they're going to be terrible and they're going to break our hearts. And so Grant, the optimist of us, and I feel like Mike brings me back down to earth a little bit. Is that fair?
Which is accurate and hilarious because in actual human life, we're the opposite way.
Sure, exactly.
So to see it invert during Braves season is pretty alarming. But, hey, that's why you keep people around on both ends of the spectrum, right?
That's
Balance
right.
it out.
That's awesome. Absolutely right. Mike, thank you. Maybe I'll probably see you in Baton Rouge at some point this weekend. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you
Mike.
guys for having me on, and
Appreciate it,
congrats on
Mike.
the show.
All right.
Thanks.
There is Mike Wilson on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline with us. Yeah, it's like I have a group text with them. It's just purely Braves. It's fantastic.
You need friends like that.
You really do.
You need friends.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
Word.
we finish off the Friday Five when we come back, and I'll give you the top 2 college football games that I am most interested in, and one involving the quarterback that is 1A and 1B, depending on whichever stat you look at, along with Hendon Hooker. The only quarterback that is in the same conversation, the only offense that has scored as many points as Tennessee has this season.
Wow.
Coming up next, it's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all 4 seasons of 104.5 The Zone. It's Friday and we're acting like it. On Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. People, just the screams of adoration for us, I guess, out there. Or some kind of feedback. Will Bollinger, Bud Foster, Kayla Anderson with you. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. Got 2 games left in my Friday 5 in the world of college football. We're going to chat with Mike Keith, voice of the Titans, coming up at the top of the next hour at 8 o'clock, too. My number 2 game, friends, the Red River rivalry, is not number 1. Not the biggest game in the Big 12 this weekend.
Oh, wow.
We'll talk about Kansas in a second. First time that the Texas-Oklahoma game has been an unranked matchup since 1998. Great year. Great year.
Good job, Oklahoma.
2 teams have played for 117 years, of course. Oklahoma's 3-2. They've given up 96 points total between the last 2 games.
That's not Brent
I'm no
Venables
math major,
like.
but that's
the Big
not
12.
it's
What do you
not great.
expect?
I mean, but Brent Venables supposed to be the defensive guru, right?
That's right.
He's supposed to be able to scheme something up.
Texas also 3-2, but the loss to Alabama certainly more impressive than the losses that Oklahoma has taken to to Kansas State and to TCU in consecutive weeks. I think TCU might be legit, though. By the way, we'll talk about that in a second. But Sooners are 10-3 against the Longhorns since 2010. But Texas is a touchdown favorite in this game because Quinn Ewers is back. Dylan Gabriel is in concussion protocol. Oklahoma is giving up 198 rushing yards per game, and Texas has Bijan Robinson. Advantage Texas.
I don't like the trending right now for the Oklahoma Sooners. And in the Big 12, and I can say this firsthand because on News 2 on the weekends when I would anchor the sports, when we had Big 12 games, we would come into the day just like hitting our head on the desk because we knew that these games were going to take forever. Yep. We would be pushed back till like 10:30 at night because, they score a lot of points, but the Big 12 doesn't play much defense. And I don't think there's going to be much defense played in this Red River. I knew Red River rivalry.
Coached by Ron Riviera.
Appreciate you having flaws like me on this mic, Kayla. I appreciate
Seriously,
this, okay?
I'll embrace it because that's a hard one.
What's that one?
Tongue twister.
I'm a human being too, okay? Yes, there we go. That feels good, Shay.
You basically were saying, linemen are people too. That's what you were basically
pretty much.
Yeah.
Kayla gets it, though. With that being said, though, like Texas, for the last, I feel like 3 years, we're back. And they've yet to answer that call. And I'm hoping it stays that way with them coming to the SEC, too. Like, and Oklahoma, too, because they took a bunch of our players in the transfer portal. I look at it now and I just laugh at both of them because I'm like, y'all aren't the real UT. And you UT guys went to Oklahoma. This is more petty than it is
that's
me
what
analyzing
I was just going to say. That's you.
This ain't me just analyzing. No, this isn't me being an expert here. I'm just looking at them both and just going, ha, ha. All right, that's all I got for them, Will.
I was watching a trivia show yesterday. Do you know that the Cotton Bowl is the only stadium with a capacity over 90,000 seats that does not have a home team?
Straight up?
Cotton Bowl.
I played there before, too, in a bowl game.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
It's like a cold setting, though, right? Like it's just, I feel like the Cotton Bowl is like cold. There's not much of an environment.
It's by itself, too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it looks
Texas State
weird.
Fair. That was when I remember
Fair,
walking out of that game when you destroyed Texas A&M before that Cotton Bowl game.
You know what that was like for me?
Yeah.
It was like 10 days later I had toe surgery.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, wow.
On my birthday at that.
Wow. Walking out of that game is when Volt became a thing, like the Volt energy drink, like soft drink.
Oh.
They were handing out Volts
Ew.
to us as samples walking down the ramp. 100%. I remember it like it was
those.
yesterday.
Yeah.
That was what, 04?
Yeah, 04. Absolutely.
I was there.
Definitely, man.
A young Will Bowling watching a young Ramon Foster.
I didn't know what a bowl game was.
Really?
No, I had zero
Zero
idea. I was like, we
right?
get all this free stuff? I had no
Really?
idea. Yeah.
A couple of
I was
A&M
clueless.
fans got thrown out of that game for like giving me the bird at age 7.
You probably deserved it.
I probably did. No, I did because I at age 7, they do like the farmers fight, and at seven years old, I was going orange and white every time we scored, like right at them, and they were not pleased with me.
Is it really farmers fight?
Yeah, that's what they yell. That's one of their cheers. I'm dead
They're
serious.
Aggies.
Yeah. I wish I was
Agriculture.
ironically saying that.
You over there.
Anyway.
That's tough, right? I'm over here scratching my head like that's hard to grab right there.
Number one game for me of the weekend is TCU and Kansas. Jalen Daniels only had 93 passing yards and 9 rushing yards at an ugly win over Iowa State last week. But on the other side of things, Coach Max Frogs, led by Max Duggan, who's been terrific, 418 yards of total offense, 4 touchdowns a week ago in that win over Oklahoma. TCU averages the second most points per game in the country this season, behind Tennessee.
Interesting.
48.5 points per game. First top 20 matchup in Lawrence since October 25th, 2008.
I believe that.
When number 19 Kansas hosted number 8 Texas Tech. They're 5-0 for the first time since 2009. Sonny Dykes is the first coach to win his first 4 games at TCU since, I don't know if you had this on your bingo card today, Francis Schmidt in 1929. Where were you in 1929? It's one of those.
None of us were even
That's
remotely
exactly.
I was nowhere.
That's one of those stats I can give that no one was alive for, which is
We all
great.
feel
Usually I'm
young.
the only one that wasn't alive for it. Best 2 offenses in the country, statistically in a lot of ways. Jalen Daniels has the Kansas Jayhawks averaging 41.6 points per game. That's 12th in college football this year. That, to me, has all the makings of a classic, like, 55-52 Big 12 game that is just terrific.
Yeah.
Which means it'll be the one that, hits the under, and Texas Oklahoma will take all the thunder for the week. So.
I just want to say about him, too, what a sharp guy. I was watching that, Central Florida game versus Houston this past Wednesday night. And they interviewed him at halftime and stuff like that. And he was just talking about his chemistry he built with his wide receiver, who's walk-on, and how he's not afraid to go at him for the ball, man. That's just smart quarterbacking right there, which is why they're in the position that they're in. Kansas, the basketball school.
Here's the thing. I voted him into my poll 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
It's crazy now to see Kansas and Kansas State
Yeah.
in the polls this week. But I just think what they've done with that football program in just like the last year in terms of getting fans back in the stands, they had a couple hundred fans in the stands a couple years ago. Now they're filling and selling out the stadium. Now game days there. It's a pretty cool thing to see that you can still be a program like that and battle your way back even from the depths of where.
Yeah.
No doubt. 615-737-1045, the number. Coming up next, we talk with voice of the Titans, Mike Keith. Our weekly conversation with him, getting ready for Titans and Commanders coming up on Sunday. The biggest keys for the Titans to get the win, but specifically the addition of one Titans defender that changes the entire landscape of the secondary if Ugo Amadi is able to go. We'll ask Mike about that. We'll hit all the Titans headlines coming up next. Halftime of the show already. Don't blink. The next 2 hours are going to go by quick as well. Mike Keith next on 104.5 The Zone.
It is 8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. As the big voice guy mentioned, Titans, Washington Commanders. Noon kickoff coming up on Sunday. The League Company countdown to kickoff on Sunday begins at 9 a.m. Ola Adaney, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Joe Jones, Amani Hooker, Nate Davis did not practice for the Titans yesterday. Thursday night football last night, dreadful, but the Colts did defeat the Broncos 12-9 in overtime. Yikes. Number 8, Tennessee at number 25, LSU tomorrow, 11 a.m. kickoff. Will Bowling and Ron Slay will be live with the Tennessee Tailgate Show from Baton Rouge at 8 a.m., followed by Vol Network coverage beginning at 9. And the NHL regular season begins today. The Preds will face the San Jose Sharks with puck drop at 1 o'clock this afternoon. The game is being played in Prague, Czech Republic as part of the league's global series. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home with the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the Friday edition, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, and the energy continues for 2 more hours right here on the show. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, joining us in just a moment. Will Bollinger, Bode Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Jonathan Schaefer with you as we get you ready for Titans and Commanders in FedEx Field this Sunday. Fast show so far today, friends.
It is,
It
man.
is. And we had not had our second wave of coffee.
I was just thinking that. I looked at my empty
Right?
cup right here and was like,
We're about to fill up.
I don't even really need you right now.
I brought my smaller mug today on accident because I forgot to pull like my big thermos out of my car yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm on like half the coffee I'm usually at this
Right?
point.
You
Feeling
going to
good?
go to the crib too
We're loving
before you
life.
hit this flight?
No, I think I'm going to head straight there.
Are you? Okay.
We've got a short meeting here afterwards, and then I am Baton Rouge
He's
bound.
Out of there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's
Let me get you some,
get there at like 7. Like it just takes a long time to go straight to Baton Rouge, which we had to do in order to get there on time. So you got to go through Dallas and do all that stuff.
Isn't it crazy? You like go back and then you.
I know,
It's
just to go forward.
Weird.
It is weird. I don't know. It's just like, give me where I'm going to and straight. We need more straight flights.
That's right. We certainly do. We are joined now on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Look to the folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans when you need someone who knows the health coverage game plan. They've been protecting Tennesseans for 75 years. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Mike?
Good morning, Will Bowling.
Mike.
Good morning, Ramon Foster. Good morning, Kayla Anderson.
Morning, Mike.
Mike, as we get ready for this matchup, what stands out to you the most about this Ron Rivera coach team, the Commanders, on the other end of the first portion of this season going into the bye for the Titans?
Their defensive line. You've got some guys over there who were first-round picks in Payne and Allen and Montez Sweat. And, they've got some dudes. Jamin Davis is a really versatile linebacker who is coming into his own. And so that front seven is very, very disruptive, very, very talented. And much like last week, you've got to account for them first and then figure out what you're going to do from there.
Mike, with that being said, though, this offensive line for the Titans has answered the call. Last week I thought was a good week for them. But why do you think they've come together the way they have since actually Taylor's been out?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think they've schemed some things pretty well, and I think, Jeff Swaim has certainly been a part of that equation too. I think the other part of it too is just continuity. It's like what we said about Dennis Daly coming off Buffalo. I mean, he gets thrown into the Buffalo game after one play, and then he has to play the whole rest of the game. After that, he had time to prepare, and he's a professional. They traded for him for a reason, and so I think they've had a nice plan. And Brewer's now used to being the left guard, and Petit Frere is now used to being the right tackle, and I just think everything fitting together is a big thing. But the one thing that's sort of the flip of that, Ramon, as you know, is now there's a book on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now Washington has had 2 games to see, okay, this is how they're handling not having Taylor Lewan. So you make fixes, but you constantly have to improve upon those fixes, but also understand the opposition is going to change.
Mike, with Treylon Burks likely not playing on Sunday, you've seen a little bit of this offense and who stepped up last week, seeing Chigakonkwo, the rookie out of Maryland, be able to come in, kind of lead the way and get his first NFL touchdown. I talked to him this week about just carrying that momentum over, but in a time like this, especially when they need other guys to step up, like how big is a guy like that to maybe come in and get more reps?
It's huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think he's a guy that you want to figure out how to get on the field because he's a matchup problem. Mm-hmm. He's also somebody, too, that understands more than he did 4 weeks ago. You know, that's the problem with playing rookies a lot of times is they look good in the preseason because there's no scheme. There's none of that. And now teams are scheming and they're having to get used to what it looks like to play and to prepare on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. I think Okonkwo is getting it. And this is normal. This is kind of the normal part of the process. We'd love to speed it up for the Titans because they've had some issues. But I think you're seeing that sort of fit in. The other thing that I think is so big is if you look at the injury report, mm-hmm. Kyle Phillips is not on there.
Yep.
That's huge.
Yep.
Absolutely. Voice the Titans, Mike Keith, with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Another member of the injury report who gets better news is Ugo Amadi. I know you mentioned with us before the season, he's such a willing tackler, so physical at the point of attack on this defense. How important is it to possibly get him back in a game where Carson Wentz is getting rid of the football so quickly, and this defense is going to be forced to make a lot of open field tackles?
And they have a bunch of guys that are hard to tackle.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other part of what they have weapon-wise is they have several guys that are real problems in the open field and that are big, strong guys. So I think the more of those guys that you can have, the better. Certainly would be hopeful for some good news on Amani Hooker today, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, not having Amani Hooker potentially is a big deal in a game like this. So the more guys that you have who are willing hitters, who are good tacklers, that's a big thing. And I think the Titans are coming off of their best tackling game of the season to this point.
Mike, this is one of those games I've seen a bunch of Titans fans be nervous about. But as the defensive side of it, though, I think emotional control has to happen because they do have a bad offensive line right now. I can say they're bad because they are bad. But you can't go, blood in the water trying to go after Carson Wentz because you think they're weak because that can lead to a bunch of exposure.
Sure. And you know what they're going to do, too. They're going to scheme to help that offensive line. If Cosby can't play and it's Cornelius Lucas at right tackle, I mean, a lot of those guys are older too. Mm-hmm. That's the interesting thing about their offensive line is they may not be the biggest names or the biggest stars, but they have some age, and so there's some savvy in that bunch. What it's going to come down to for the Titans is can we get them in predictable situations where we take away their options? Can we get ahead? Can we get them in 3rd and 10? You can't let them gain any flow or any pace because, as we've seen at various times in the NFL, when you are able to stay ahead of the chains, when the score is in your favor, all of those sorts of things, you can get through with an offensive line that maybe isn't regarded as one of the best in the league.
Gotcha.
With not having as many mobile quarterbacks in the last couple of weeks, and look, Carson Wentz can obviously get out of the pocket, but he doesn't do it as smoothly as some of these other guys. Mm-hmm. So if Bud Dupree can't go, again, giving way for some of these other guys to step up, Adaney, but, especially the second-year player, Rashad Weaver, who is really doing things in my eyes kind of quietly, leading the team with 4 sacks. He's got a confidence about him, and he told us this week in the locker room as well, Mike. He said, I just want to make sure this is consistent. I mean, how big has he been early on?
He's done a nice job, and you have to be very pleased with him. I think the thing you start to worry about, and it's why the bye comes at a good time, is so many of these guys up front are racking up major snap numbers.
Yep.
And so that's something that, I don't think it's a major concern going into week 5, particularly with the bye coming up, but it's something that you have to keep an eye on. Sam Okonkwo, could be a guy that could get some snaps in there and might be able to help in some ways. There's certainly people they could call up from the practice squad. They have been able to move guys around on the defensive line to give some help on the outside. But there's really nobody else who can do, assuming, Dupree's not in there, that Weaver can do. Mm-hmm. And I think he's been very consistent. He's had to play more than anybody thought he would have to, but he's really done a nice job, and he's turning into the player we thought he was last year when we just got sort of a sneak peek at number 99.
Mike, I consider you a legend, man. You're one of those guys, I'm saying you're the ultimate pro, and you've made some big calls, okay? The Music City Miracle. But is there any call that you're more proud of than Tierra Tart's interception?
Yeah.
Probably not. Wow.
Love it.
I was just so happy for him. Yeah. I did not think I would be calling a Tierra Tart falling backwards interception at any point. So those are the ones you enjoy the most as just a fan of the team. And, it's been nice to see him have a week where he's really gotten a lot of praise. And also you understand he's played good football.
Yeah.
He's in better shape, so he's able to stay on the field a little bit more. He's going to constantly have to work on his conditioning.
Right.
Because he's not a light man. And so he's going to have to continue to stay with that. But with some guys, a play like that and a moment like this is that validation to keep pushing harder. Some people fall back. Yeah. I'm hopeful that in his case, it will be validation to say, this is what they've been telling you could be since you got here. And this is what they saw in him when a lot of people didn't. They're like, Tierra, who? He played at like 9 schools. And what happened? He's one of the more out of nowhere guys that we've had in my entire time here. And so to see him get to have this moment, I know he went out and did a school visit with Rhett Bryan this week and T-Rack, and good for him. Good for him. It's exciting.
Mike, on the way out, we've talked a lot about Derrick Henry taking the end of last season personally and putting it upon himself to come out of the gate strong this season. Saw a little bit of emotion out of him, ripping the helmet off after a touchdown run that gets called back, and him looking a little fired up in this game. Kind of rare to see that kind of emotion from him on the field, right?
It is, and I think what you said up front is fair. I think, you could say, oh, no, this is Derrick, how he's always been. I think he's taken it personally. I think he took the Cincinnati game personally. I think he took everybody writing him off personally. I think the whole thing has been very real for him. He wants to win. He's committed to this team. I think there's a sense in him of understanding where he potentially could be historically.
Wow.
That he could win a 3rd rushing title in 4 years. I think he has great respect for Jonathan Taylor, but do I think he wanted to play better than Jonathan Taylor last weekend? Yes. Yes, I do. And good for Derrick Henry for being that way. And, some guys could say, oh, I'm just going to do my thing. And for some people that works. That's cool. But for him to step out there and say, if we're going somewhere, I'm going to have to carry us, good. Somebody has to.
I love it. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Voice the Titans, Mike Keith, has been our guest, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Appreciate the time as always, Mike, and have a good call on Sunday.
I don't know why, but the show sounds better somehow.
It really does, doesn't it?
It's because Mike does. That's the best.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Thank you, Mike.
Even when Mike disses us, he's good.
I love it. Yeah, it's professional.
It's
Is that professional diss? That's like a real thing.
Yeah.
That was the equivalent of his call at the end of the game the other day of, and for the 4th time in a row, the Tennessee Titans come to Indianapolis and get the win. I hate that we didn't get the chance to ask him about that, but
that's what I thought Moan was going to say.
No, I needed to know about. I needed to know about
the Tar
that.
area. Yeah,
it was good. Best of the biz, no doubt about it. When we come back, we continue the conversation on Titans and Commanders. Take a look at the NFL headlines going into a busy week. That's next. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all 4 seasons of 104.5 The Zone.
Change is coming and you need to be prepared. Hey, this is Ramon Falston. Did you know that new regulations are coming soon that could increase the price of replacing your older HVAC system by over 20%? That's why you need to act now and get the older system replaced by my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 18 months with no payments. Listen to me. You can lock in today's price and not have to pay until spring of 2024. Or you can get up to $1,500 off your new HVAC. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is always backed by a 10-year parts and labor warranty on York products. And Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is also a York certified comfort expert company. And if you need repair work, they offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. They are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Great song. Jonathan Schaefer spinning the hits for us. It's why he's the best producer in the world.
Hands down.
Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson with you. Appreciate Mike Keith giving us a couple of minutes. Good visit with him. And Ramon mentioned it the other day. I don't think we had this conversation on air, but we've brought it on air at this point, that Derrick Henry's showing the little bit of emotion that he did on that touchdown run in the second half that was called back on a holding call that I think we agree was not a holding call.
Was not a holding call.
It is. Okay. All right. Easy.
I just hate good plays to be called back on foolish, like, eyeballs of referees. Yeah. Feel me? Like, that sucks.
I feel like the Crews have been worse than
it's like those phantom calls, just out of nowhere. It's like, well, you missed that one.
That one wasn't even on an O-lineman either, and you're still hurt about it.
Well, it's because I appreciate wide receivers blocking. The run game ain't just at the line of scrimmage. Although you people blame us. The run game, 40 yards.
You people.
What?
You?
Big
boys.
All I'm telling the big boys up front, man.
How deep I gotta dig for you to pipe down?
Stopped in your tracks, didn't it?
He ain't even say nothing. He didn't even say anything.
Sometimes it just takes a look.
Crazy. I'm going to pipe down, and I'm going to be cool right here, okay? But I will say this. Okay. The run game is more than just the big boys up front. That's why I appreciate Vrabel almost more than any other coach. His emphasis for getting guys that are willing participants, as my older coach would say, Coach Tomlin, in the run game. You have an affinity to be physical when your profession doesn't require it. That's why that block last week was like, come on, that wasn't a friggin' holding call.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
And speaking of Derrick Henry, because he showed some emotion in that game, but really in the past couple of weeks, he's been a different type of personality than he was before he got hurt last year up on the podium. He's kind of gone back to the shorter Derrick Henry in terms of answers. Not smiling a whole ton. Yesterday, he smiled at the fact when somebody asked him about getting involved in the pass game and how fun it is for him, because he takes a lot of pride in that part of his game as well.
Certainly.
But I think Derrick's just in business mode right now because he's not happy with what's happening individually for himself probably, but also with what's, going on right now. They're turning things around, but up to this point, a little frustrated.
Last year was a big push from him last year. I remember distinctly, to your point about you saying Derrick pulling back some, Kayla.
Yeah.
Like, remember, there was more commercials, more exposure to the media.
Titans pans.
The replay of trying to get 2,000 yards, and he's probably on his way to it. And I think he probably looked at that rehab session, to your point, to be like, I need to get back to the old me.
Yep.
Players would blame anything on the reason they got, injured.
Especially Derrick.
Oh, my God. I got injured because I was doing commercials.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with anything. But you guys have been around athletes, and I'm sure you had stuff when you ran. You're like, well, if I hadn't have did this, I'd have got an extra second.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%.
Yeah, had nothing to. So hearing you say he's going back to the old him could be really good for this Titans team down the stretch.
Just not for the media.
Just not.
It's not great for us.
Sorry, Kayla.
It's all right. We try. We're still going to try.
615-737-1045, the number. Goody Mike in Cleveland has been waiting patiently to chime in. Hello, Mike. How are we?
What's up, Mike?
What up, dog? What's up, y'all? Hey,
Mike?
Hey, KK, how you doing,
That's
man?
right.
How
Mike's
you
already
doing?
caught up on that. He's ready to
So
go.
Mike, hey, he quick with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, KK, tell us, pickup truck or SUV? I'm going to get a question
Ooh,
in.
SUV.
Straight up.
Yeah.
All right, I like your style. Hey, Will, I was calling to, give you some pointers, some black safety tips while you out with Slay Saturday.
Sure.
Okay? Okay. All right. So, first tip, don't you wear them boat shoes, socks or no socks.
I don't own boat shoes, so I'm good on that one.
Okay.
Not a boat shoe guy.
Reebok Classics or Jordans, no Jesus sandals, okay?
I'm with you on that one, too. Again, these are all things that Buck Rising needs a lot more than I do.
He's just taking hits.
Yeah, we ain't gonna get on Buck.
He's
That's
a lost
whole
cause.
new wardrobe.
Yeah. Lost cause,
man,
for sure.
We gonna focus on you and Saturday Slay, okay?
Sure.
So while you out with Slay, if he takes you somewhere and you start seeing 90-pound people wearing leather jackets or and it's 85 degrees, lock the doors, okay?
Oh.
All right? If they
That's
come
fair.
up to the window, if they come up to the window, you don't have any extra change. If y'all go out somewhere and a girl starts twerking on you, don't up. You just stand there and nod your head. Don't do no pump thrust.
Lord.
Don't shake
Easy.
your hips. You just stand there. You take the twerking, okay?
Easy.
All right. If Slade tells you, hey, stay by the door, homeboy, and just be ready to go, and you see talking fast, you just go to the car, okay? All right.
Great tips.
Okay.
Just go to the car. Okay.
Yeah, you might just want to stay in the car, but hey, it's Slade. He might want to introduce you to some folks. You just always remember, where is my ex? Okay? Just remember that. You'll be okay. Don't you get over there. Don't you embarrass us. All right?
Mike has made Will a whole representation of us.
Thank you, Mike. This has been the gospel according to Goody Mike on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, I'm going to be real with you. That one about knowing where the door is, like, hey, stay next to the door. If there's a front door, only stay close to the front door. You don't know if there's not a door in the back, Will. Okay?
It's just a good life tip.
Pro
Anywhere you are.
tips.
Pro tips.
Pro tips.
Of course.
The twerk thing. No, just don't get outside of yourself, Will.
Snap and
okay?
clear.
It is bounce music in New Orleans,
Yeah.
okay? In Baton Rouge. You'll just receive,
He
okay?
can move his hips if he wants to.
Just
Oh, my
don't
goodness.
touch. Just be cool.
Oh, my goodness.
You see, look,
Just
Kayla,
like
okay.
Urban Meyer, be
This is
aware of
taking
your
a
hands at
turn.
all
This is
times.
not. Wow.
Keep your hands and feet in the
Inside the owl.
field.
I'm going to get a job interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars before I leave Baton
You
Rouge.
know what?
Possible.
Yes, you will.
It's your team.
No,
Yeah.
See, I saw that floating
Oh,
around.
turning it around.
The
I
people
saw
are
that.
already making Jacksonville Ramon Foster's team.
No.
Is this real?
No,
After
it's for
yesterday?
real a thing. Yeah, I was just like, yo, I got to recognize when it's good. Jacksonville, see, I can't even brag about this and I'm being conscious about what they're going to say about me. I'm just putting.
Like every time you said you're riding with Kentucky and Jonathan Schaefer saved it.
No, because I kind of agree with him on Jacksonville, so we're good.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just putting it on notice.
I agree with you too, but
yeah.
you know,
But it's my team now.
but you're the one who knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who knocks for the Jacksonville
Leading the way.
Jaguars. Like, I just put it on notice. They legit is what I'm saying.
You are the danger.
For, as Ryan Clark said, for what Jacksonville has been.
Exactly. Let's
See?
rephrase that.
Let's rephrase that.
I mean, the only thing missing from last night's Thursday night football game was a mustard Jacksonville Jaguars jersey and shots
Yeah.
of Jacksonville coming back from break.
No, what was missing was a touchdown by somebody.
Oh, that's true.
That's true,
Amen.
You know the last team to play in a game and win without a touchdown is, right?
too. The Browns.
Your Tennessee Titans.
Is it really?
That sounds
over the
about right.
over the winless Cleveland Browns in 2017.
Yep.
Yep.
That
That
game
was-
that was a pretty brutal
That game was a
too.
blip on the radar. That's one I've suppressed the memory of that
I
game.
know. It's like I can't really remember parts of that
I
one.
remember where I was watching it because I was still at UT at that point watching that game, and that's one we shrugged our shoulders and sighed and moved on from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. It's
was
like
not a
that
good one.
sometimes.
it was not a good one.
Everybody has an era.
That's right. 615-737-1045, the number. Greg is in Mississippi up next.
What's up?
Good morning, Greg.
Hey, good morning. I'm headed up for the game with Ole Miss and Vandy this weekend.
Nice.
I want to ask you guys. Does Juice Kiffin have a pretty decent chance here to maybe get some playoff consideration if they can get these next three? You got Vandy, then Auburn at home, and then LSU. Now, if LSU knocks off Tennessee, that game becomes really massive, and then the Rebels have a bye, and then they get Alabama and Oxford. So I want your thoughts on maybe the Rebels making a noise to maybe get a playoff spot. And then I want to ask the greatest Washington State Cougar y'all got in there. I'm going to take the Cougars and take the 13 points with
go!
USC. I think they actually have a chance. Maybe that might be your upset special. They went into Wisconsin and got that coach fired. After the Cougars won that game. So I'm looking at Washington State. I'm going to take the 13. I think that might be. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. I'm not a USC fan, or at least a fan of what's his name, the guy out there, Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln
you guys
Riley.
have a great show. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate you, Greg.
Can we put him as my favorite caller to this day?
Put a star by his name.
Well,
Leader of the clubhouse.
talking really quickly
Butler Cabinet.
about that Wazoo game against USC, that's actually getting no getting no attention at all. And I don't think people realize what Wazoo has going right now.
Right.
And people know about USC because of Lincoln Riley, and they've got off to a good start. They have the whole transfer portal at their place right now. But Washington State's defense is for real. And this team has kind of been able to go and, take care of USC the past couple of years. They haven't been much, but the Cougs are not just some
rollover.
They're not a rollover right now.
Okay.
So that's a game to look out for.
I like it.
And really, for Ole Miss, look, right now, Lane Kiffin has them going. I mean, he has them in a good spot right now, and anything can happen at this point. But these are the games you've got to take care of business each and every week if you're a school like Ole Miss, just because of the competition in the SEC. And in terms of the playoffs, it's just few and far between that's going to represent. But look, Lane's a great coach. Yeah. He's a good coach. Come on, Moan. I don't care what happened years ago with Tennessee. You got to get over it. No.
I dislike Lane.
I didn't like Lane for a while either.
I dislike him because of the way Vols fans still salivate over.
But he's changed. When he went to the Knicks school, Saban, of changing coaches, he's changed.
See, now you got me in my UT feels.
I push back on that a little bit because him just throwing the headset at Jamie Erdahl last year before the Alabama game is vintage Lane
Here's
Kiffin.
the thing with me, and I'm not even a Vols fan. I'm a casual Vols fan. I have an irrational hate for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, Kayla.
Well, I'm standing up for myself on this one.
No, and Inky has gave him a pass. Inky's
I'm
like,
sorry.
Man, Lane is. I'm like, man, screw Lane, because he does these little.
He's always going to have that side of him, but he's not the old Lane.
He deserves to have a fist in his face, is all I'm saying. Like,
Jonathan
if I saw him
Schaefer-
walking around with a black eye, it'd make me a little bit better.
Schaefer is, I think you have an irrational hatred. Actually, I think it's quite rational. Hatred for this kind of guy, just in life.
Hate that type of guy.
Me and Shake the same on that.
Yeah. That's where I think I could tell you
and it's
for
probably
sure. I don't want
more
to speak
of
for
that.
you, but I'll speak for you.
It's more of that.
I think I still have a Datsun that James Franklin sold to me when he was at Vandy, okay?
Yeah.
See, I'm just okay.
Hey, Lane, quit pimping your dog out for recruits.
You guys are on it because you'll never get over the fact of what he did here,
No,
which
no,
is
no, no,
which
I'm okay
I
with
get.
that.
Two craps
Which
about
I
what he
get.
did on
I'm
Rocky
actually
Top.
okay with
Which I
that.
get.
I'm just not a fan of the guy that he is. Like the whole social media, throwing spark plugs out there every once in a while, and then people
You want it to be boring.
Well, no, I don't want him to be boring. He ain't my coach, so I can give a damn about him. But I hate the way he goes at the Vols fans and be like, oh, this, and that, and then there's just the whole fire behind it. I'm like, stop giving dudes like this air. You got your own thing and boo thing in Oxford that nobody wants to visit, okay? Go do that. It's cool.
College football needs
your old
this
lady
stuff.
got hair on her legs. You go rub them, okay? Don't come to Knoxville with what we got going on.
We would never have this conversation if we didn't have any coaches that had personality. So sorry.
But
we need this.
I'm saying you ain't wrong. I'm not saying you wrong here. I'm just saying I'm not a Lane guy. And I could probably sit down
He probably
with him.
doesn't like you either.
No, he would love me. There's not many people that don't like me. I'm just gonna throw that out. I'm being real. I'm gonna be real, just over the top. But I'll say this: we probably sit down and have a really good brew and a cigar and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
The antics behind it, I'm just like.
You don't understand that.
And I'm probably an antics guy on social media, so there's people that probably don't.
When it
like
comes to the AFC North, yeah.
On the AFC North, it's crap on everybody.
The pushback that I will give to your point, Ramon, is that we can't criticize coaches for being plastic and being robots and not giving quotes and not being honest, and then criticize the ones that are themselves and are honest. Like Lane Kiffin is himself. Now, whether or not you like who he is, that's a separate conversation. I think that's kind of where we are, is that I just don't care for that kind of personality.
Right.
I think you could have the same two opinions at once.
Yeah.
And saying, I respect the honesty and respect that he is himself and that we need more college football coaches that are themselves. I just don't like who that self is.
I'm with
That's
that.
okay. And you're right. You have a right to your opinion.
Yeah. No, you got a great point. Coaching is stale. It can be very stale. Hypo. Truthfully, kind of stale, but I like it because I know what he's like behind the glass.
That's okay.
Lane
and that's
plays it
100%
up.
accurate.
Lane plays it up because he's at Ole Miss, respectfully. Shout out to my guy, Ben. I know he's an Ole Miss guy, but I'm just saying in general, I feel like Lane's at a place that he likes but don't love. So let me troll everybody else to put eyes on me. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get that part about it too.
I think that Ole Miss team was the forgotten team in the top half of the SEC because we didn't know anything about them going into that Kentucky game.
No.
They hadn't played anybody legit. Their non-conference team they played in Atlanta was Georgia Tech, who they've already got a new head coach, and they got crushed in that game. So I think we learned a lot about Ole Miss last week. We learned that defense has taken another step forward and made life really difficult on Will Levis and the Kentucky offensive line, albeit not the typical offensive line we've gotten used to at Kentucky, protecting those quarterbacks and protecting Chris Rodriguez and Cavassier Smoke. But
God, that name.
Every time he says,
Can we do something every time we say Cavassier? Like
Cavassier Smoke.
Figure something out.
Like we got a good drink
I love
and we
that.
got a smoke behind it.
by Armani, like it sounds like a fragrance that you
It's
smell
like
as you walk through Sears
a
to go
late
through the
late
mall.
80s soup store.
Yeah, that's right.
Like manager.
He's got to have
Cavassier Smoke.
NIL deals like just lined
If
up.
he don't, boy, Kentucky's doing him
All right,
wrong.
Kayla, here's the issue. Lane's got a super punchable face.
Oh, he does. But I will
It's
tell
a
him this.
super
He's
punchable
done
face.
some things he was looking rough for a while. I think he's finally got back on taking him care of
Oh, no,
himself.
I'm glad
'cause-
he's...
Yeah, but
the
he
fact-
does.
wait.
He really does have a punchable face. I'll agree with you on that.
He may look better, but it makes his
8:39
face
a.m.
no less punchable.
No, it's I'm on that one.
I get there will be a recording of Kayla saying, "Yeah, he has a punchable face," but within the hour.
I've already punched someone, broke my wrist, so we'll talk about that another day.
What the hell?
Hey,
Yeah.
we got time.
We've got an hour.
Leave
and
that
20
for next week. That's a good teaser.
Okay.
Hey, Air 5.
Q and K.
Q and
There we
K.
go.
Who did you punch?
Yeah, all right. Let's
one of
write
my
that down.
buddies in college.
Please give me a pink slip if I have not brought that up by Monday's show, by the end of Monday's show. 615-737-1045. Coming up, the first installment in what I'm excited about this fall, a tailgate tip of the week.
Yeah.
Courtesy of this show and courtesy of Maryland Farms Wine and
Maryland
Spirits.
Farms.
We're going to
Awesome.
give you the taste of week 6 in college football and a cocktail that you can not only enjoy, but you can think about us as you enjoy it. So you're going to enjoy it a little bit more.
I like that.
That's
Will.
nice.
Shout out to Maryland Farms.
Yeah.
We'll do that coming up next. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all 4 seasons of 104.5 The Zone. Time for the first installment in a new weekly segment here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. 11-year NFL veteran, Vol for Life, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. So our tailgate tip of the week, Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, is brought to you by Maryland Farms Wine and Spirits, locally owned, serving Brentwood for over 17 years. They've got a unique selection of wine and spirits with a vast selection of local craft and hard-to-find brands that the big stores don't or won't carry. And essentially what they're going to do for us and for the people every Friday is give us a tailgate cocktail of the week.
I love the name of this one. And I got to go by
too.
because I got to see what some of these allocated bottles they got, okay? Your boy still is on the hunt, and our people at Maryland Farms going to help me out with that one, Will.
They sure are.
The name of this one, can I drop this name?
Please do.
This drink, I've never heard of this drink, but I'm absolutely loving this name, Will.
Yep.
Paper Plane.
Yeah.
The Paper Plane.
Yep.
I love that one, Will. Break it down to them, Will, how they can enjoy this spirit, man.
So it has equal parts, and all of this you can buy at Maryland Farms Wine and Spirits. So you go in, you ask for the Paper Plane from Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and they're going to set you up. They're going to have everything that you need as soon as you walk in, right by the Publix in Brentwood off Old Hickory Boulevard.
Oh.
So what you've got here is you have got equal parts Amaro Nonino.
Amaro.
Amaro.
It's Amaro. Bourbon. This is a bourbon-based cocktail.
Okay.
Aperol. I believe I'm saying that right as well.
1.5 ounces of Aperol.
And lemon juice.
Yes.
Equal parts of those four. You shake with ice, and it is very, very good. So that is the Paper Plane, courtesy of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. 101 Creekside Crossing in Brentwood by Publix. Maryland Farms Wine and Spirits, locally owned and serving Brentwood for over 17 years.
What's cool about this drink is it turns orange also.
That's what I was just going to say.
Oh, my bad, Kayla.
It's perfect for all of the Vols fans this weekend.
Indeed. This is awesome. Bourbon of your choice, for sure. What's your bourbon of choice, Will?
Oh, God.
Ooh.
My choice is in my budget choice added to, or like, do I have any choice?
Any choice. Give me both.
Ooh.
Budget choice.
My favorite that I can afford on a regular basis is Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style is my favorite. That is one that I bought at the beginning of the Braves playoff run last year and said, I'm only going to drink this after wins. And sure enough, I finished the bottle by the end of the playoffs because the Braves won the World Series. That one is my favorite. I've got a pair of like rock glasses that have a map around Truist Park on them and like the Atlanta A in the bottom that are like these really nice bourbon glasses. So I like use those to like drink bourbon and watch the Braves. It's like a baseball thing for me. Anyway,
Nice.
my favorite I've ever had, Weller 12.
Yeah, Weller's.
I got some.
Weller 12 is my
Weller's right.
favorite.
That's the only reason
hate
why
you
he
so much.
asked you that question is so that he could come back and say, oh, yeah, I have that.
No.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Ramon,
Yes, it is.
A little bit, Kayla. A little
Yeah,
bit.
I know you too well
Ramon,
right now, and I
how's-
don't even know you that well.
How's
so,
bragging camp?
right?
You know what? In the
How's that
bourbon
going?
department, it's damn good. Okay, the bourbon department is fire. Although I'm not on much bourbon right now. My go-to just favorite drink to just have is probably some Old Elk. I
Okay.
enjoy it.
I've never
Such
tried
a
that
real
one.
good single barrel is really good, man. My goat. As of late, bottle that I've had is two of them, man, that is just phenomenal. That Eagle Rare 17 here.
Oh,
Shafe had some of that, and he about lost his mind
Really?
on it. Yeah.
Almost didn't go to work the next day.
Yeah, we about crushed
was
out.
like that, huh?
It's Kayla, hear me out.
Thank you for not making me learn how to produce in the moment again as at the beginning of this show.
That one was good, and that EHT,
Yep.
18-year marriage.
Goodness
So it's 18
sakes.
years
You're
age.
ridiculous.
I got a Pappy 23. No, I got a Pappy 20. I've yet to open too.
You do?
Yeah, I got a 20. I got
You
a
told
20.
me that before.
No, that it
Smoke
goes in
wagon is
between.
my
Will wants
recent
that
favorite.
invite.
I
Yeah, he
couldn't
wants
go.
that. I heard mixed reviews about the Smoke Wagon now.
So it's pretty good. I
Well,
liked it.
We're gonna have to holler at our folks at Maryland Farms to see if they can get
We
us
sure
that.
are. Maryland Farms Wine and Spirits bringing our tailgate tip of the week. Our Q&K today for Kayla Anderson on this topic.
Yeah, we didn't get your bourbon. Your bourbon?
Well, I'm
Or
not a
tequila?
bourbon
I was
drinker,
just going to
but
ask
if I
you, what
were-
is your drink of choice?
Okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
so
Well, take me
I
on.
know about bourbon. Clearly, you know, you're around a lot of men. You cover
Yeah.
lots of sports. You hear about bourbon talk
Bourbon and
all
golf.
the time.
That's what we
Bourbon
do.
and golf. I'm more of a, I'm more of a tequila person, but more so I've got my drink of choice that has been my staple since I don't even know when. Like the perfect Cosmo, if you can make me the perfect Cosmo, and it's got to be like a handmade craft, Cosmo. Everything's got to be fresh, squeezed. That's a go-to. I mean, that is my absolute go-to. A good vodka in there.
Yeah.
That will get me going for the night. Then the tequila shots come in later.
Oh, you had Clase Azul?
If you got it, yeah.
Casamigos. Casamigos is my favorite tequila.
Very good.
I'll drink that on the rocks just by itself.
It's a great one on the rocks.
We put the shindig together. Okay, I'm going to just lay it out for y'all. We just going to sip and just have a good time. Y'all going to have to catch an Uber. My guilty indulgence, though, is a dirty martini with blue cheese stuffed olives.
It's my mom's favorite. That's my mom's favorite.
Is it?
Yeah, she loves that.
You lose me on anything with olives.
It just gets you there.
Yep, it does.
You like people look at martinis like, oh, it's so cute. Yeah, have one or two.
It's cute, but it also gets you where you want to go quickly.
The espresso martini is the one that's like,
of course,
like around the world right now. That's just like the one I feel like everyone talks about now.
Yeah, it's like a dessert.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You can't have too much of that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a. Well,
the dirty one?
I could see you with the espresso to end the night.
I've only ever had one ever, and it was because one of my friends got it and was like, no, I don't really want this anymore. Just gave it to me.
Just give it to Will. He'll drink it.
Give it to Will. He'll drink it.
Yeah. It was good. Wasn't bad.
Everybody is that guy at one point in time, though.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Be proud of it.
Yeah,
of course.
Absolutely. Where that?
615-737-1045 is the number. I don't know how we already got here, but it is time for the fourth quarter of the show. Four's up around Middle Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen, because coming up next, we finish off with 60 more minutes for the week. Kayla Anderson's going to continue to hit the counter in frustration or praise or whatever is happening. Who's to say? She gives her Friday Five at the end of the show here. Keys to the game for Titans and Commanders. It's going to go by quick. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all four seasons of 104.5 The Zone.
Really does have a punchable face.
Good morning. It's 9:01. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. As just mentioned, Titans at the Washington Commanders, noon kickoff on Sunday. League Company countdown to kickoff that morning begins at 9 a.m. And then, of course, Titans radio with Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis. Missing from practice yesterday, Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Joe Jones, Amani Hooker, Nate Davis. They did not participate. Thursday night football in what was an awful game. The Colts defeated the Broncos 12-9 in overtime. College football tomorrow, number 8 Tennessee at number 25 LSU. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff. Will Bowling and Ron Slay will be live from Baton Rouge at 8 a.m., followed by Vol Network coverage beginning at 9. And the NHL regular season begins today. The Preds will face the San Jose Sharks with puck drop at 1 o'clock this afternoon. That's because the game is being played in Prague, Czech Republic, as part of the league's global series. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The show goes on for one more hour this week. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. The best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen. Ramon Foster,
best producer in the world.
Kayla Anderson,
The world.
and Will Bowley.
I've also added that just so you have to pause longer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. it's good.
Pause.
One of the worst wins you will ever see in football at any level. Last night for the Indianapolis Colts, they get the win over the Denver Broncos. Real quick, talking about big wins, I've got to give a shout out. And Jonathan Schaefer is handling high school football duties for me tonight, along with Lucas Panzica in a battle of unbeatens in Nolensville and Page, which is going to be terrific.
Yeah.
Right here on the station tonight in week 8 already.
Week 8?
4 weeks left in the regular season in Tennessee high school football.
High school football flies, I feel like.
Goes by quick.
Yeah.
Last night, how about CPA? A 35-14 win over the Oakland Patriots, the two-time defending state champions in the 6A classification. Oakland had won 36 games in a row. Head coach Kevin Creasy has been there since 2015 and is the powerhouse in Tennessee high school football over the past couple of years. And his team had never lost to a Middle Tennessee team ever.
Unreal.
Under his leadership. This is his 8th season. So CPA now joins Maryville, who's done it 4 times, Hoover, Alabama, in Creasy's first ever game as head coach in 2015, and Whitehaven in a state championship game a few years back as the only teams to ever beat a Kevin Creasy coached Oakland team. That team is terrific, by the way. They will be just fine. But Coach Ingle Martin and CPA with the win of the year in high school football. So I had to give a shout out to them here to start off the final hour.
Absolutely. And 2 great coaches. 2 really good programs, but it's always fun when you can kind of mix it up a little, right?
Yeah.
And how do those guys in Oakland, how do they bounce back? You know,
Yeah.
they don't like that.
No, they're not used to it. On a high school level, you know how king of the hill you feel if you hadn't lost to a team in your area?
Yep.
Since how long, Will?
Since Jawan Jennings was quarterback of Blackman High School in week 1 of 2014.
Like, that's nuts.
Whoa.
A game that was on ESPN.
Where were you in 2014?
Whoa.
I was
I was in
You are
London.
not allowed to answer that question, Will Bowling.
He's
gonna
like,
say-
I was in the womb.
Jeez, man. 2014? That was what, year 5 for me, year 6?
Yeah.
Golly.
I was
Yeah,
covering
year 5.
Ohio State.
Were
Up
you?
in T-Bus, yeah.
That's how long
First
it's
year.
been. That's crazy,
I was
man.
here.
I mean, that's a phenomenal feat just in itself, but
Yeah.
also CPA being able to pull that out. On paper, Will, who was the overall better team?
In this game, CPA dominated the whole game.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
that's-
before the game kicked off.
Oh, well, CPA, state runners-up a year ago. They've won a couple state championships with a class that just graduated last year. Cade Law, now a catcher at Vanderbilt, was their quarterback. His little brother, Cruz Law, has his breakout game yesterday. He's had some big games, but his hey, you can't stop this dude, just like his brother was and his dad was back in the day. The Law family and the number 11 has been a staple in Middle Tennessee for years.
Cruz Law?
Cruz.
Yeah.
Like that name is.
Yeah.
It's a good football
almost
name.
like the little kid in the Little League World Series whose last name was Money, first name was Cash.
But
Cash
CPA
Money.
was coming off a loss to they lost to Brentwood Academy, MBA, and FRA already this season.
Okay.
We're kind of battling a little bit. Yeah. So huge win. The win of the year, the win of the decade in Tennessee high school football.
Can we put that into the ESPYs category there?
Has to be, right? Has to be.
And Lucas and I said it last week on our show as we were wrapping up Oakland's win over Blackman last week on the station, said you can never overlook an Ingle Martin coached team ever under any circumstance. And you said it right, Kayla, that Ingle and Kevin are two of just the nicest guys in Tennessee high school football, two of the coolest people to know in that sport. So they just do a good job. And knowing both of them personally now, too, they just do such a good job advancing the awareness and the conversation around the sport.
Yeah.
Because the people that are in that for the right reasons and that are pushing high school football for the right reasons are because it's for those guys. It's for all of the kids, not just theirs. So pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I like that. I like you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congrats to CPA then, man. I know those kids are really celebrating the day on this Friday.
It's Friday and they're acting like it.
And they are acting like it. That would be the toughest for me, though. Like having a Thursday night game with a big win where you were probably the underdog, going into school, into class, especially my senior year, I'll be real with y'all.
Did you ever play Thursday game in high school?
Never. No, never.
Never did?
Yeah.
Never.
Did you
It's
ever
always
in
Friday.
college or NFL?
Yeah, I always play Thursday nights.
Okay.
Yeah, every team.
Those
had
were
one.
still. When did Thursday night games start?
They came
Around
in
the
about
time you were in the
09.
league.
Yeah, it was around 09. It was like one every 4 games or something like that.
But it's more frequent now.
Yeah, it's
right.
every week now. Yeah.
I saw a trivia question the other day. I'm curious if y'all remember this. What current college football play-by-play voice was the voice of Thursday Night Football from 2010 to 2013?
Brad Nessler.
That's correct.
Wow.
Look at the OG over there.
That is good. Now, I'm also, you know me, and people who know me know I've been a nerd about play-by-play guys and just wanting to be a play-by-play guy since I was
you could have put a
5.
period right after nerd, but that's all right.
That's fair. I accept. And Brad Nessler is my favorite play-by-play voice nationally because, A, he's terrific. B, he was the voice of the NCAA football video game. And so I would sit and play that video game forever. And it's Brad Nessler, Lee Corso, and then Kirk comes on and all that stuff. So I just remember it for that reason. But it's hard to forget, or it's easy to forget how uncommon Thursday Night Football was.
Yeah,
Really
it
not
was
that
very
long ago.
uncommon.
Yep. We didn't do that where we were from. I mean, we didn't have Thursday Night Football. That was not a thing.
You talking about high school wise?
Yeah,
no.
it's not a thing.
Will said this is a rule change because of what?
Because of a shortage of referees.
Yeah, that's exactly what
That's
it is.
what it
and
is.
so
Every
shout
team has
out
to
to
play
anybody
one.
who would like to do it's a hard thing. So
It is.
respect to the refs that are out there, especially in high school. So yeah, go get involved in that.
See, we didn't have Thursday night, but when I was much younger, like Will's age right now, there would be one school that didn't have lights, so we would have a Saturday morning game.
Oh,
Wow.
talk about a vibe killer right
About
there.
10 a.m. Saturday morning.
Hey, I remember still going to Greer Stadium for high school football games because Father Ryan played their home football games at Greer when I was growing up.
Well, I got to bring this on.
I saw him scheming over there like, what's going on?
My wife texts me, and I guess it's the question you asked. She was like, how old does Will think you are?
Oh,
Like you are?
Oh, God.
like he's like 50.
No, it's not that. I just remembered.
Like, 09 is really that far away. Like,
I
when you
only
first
said
got in
it
the
that
league.
way.
Mom.
I only said it that way because I saw the trivia question yesterday about Thursday Night Football starting yearly in 2010, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't positive that's when it started yearly. is
Back
why
when
I
you
asked.
played, Moan, the helmets were soft.
Back in the day.
Like you started. You started in 08.
No, 09.
09.
Was my,
Boy, you're aging
back
him,
when
man.
you played. Come on, what are we doing?
Oh, you got to
It's
start
just
over
funny.
there.
It's just funny because Will watched you in college, so you should have known.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
No, I do know because I was thinking about this yesterday and I was like, Thursday Night Football really started yearly, like about 10, 11 years ago, which is why I asked. And you're an 11-year NFL veteran. Who's been out of the league for 2
How old
years.
am I, Will?
I'm doing the math. Take the surprise out your voice.
Will's put me up there. I'm a 50-year-old now. And like, Mo, when you played, they had big shoulder pads.
Yeah, do you pay for Life Alert, or does you get that through the NFLPA?
You feel me? Like,
does the NFLPA give you the your AARP card, or do you just get that on your own?
I already got it. I got everything.
I love that your wife is standing up for you, because
like,
we don't want to be older than what we are. Okay,
usually she's standing up for me.
Yeah.
Usually she's standing up for me when y'all bully me.
She is. Keisha is the one that stands up for you. Okay.
Somebody's got to. Thank you, Keisha, for listening. We appreciate you.
She gonna make you call her Miss Keisha like Maddox
That's
does.
fine.
Miss Keisha.
Ramones days were so long ago, they still had those big old neck rolls.
I played with one of them in high school.
Doesn't Van Der Esch wear those still?
Van Der Esch, yeah.
You still have the VHS tapes of your first NFL games?
I'll kick your ass. No, I didn't have VHS. We didn't get iPads, though, the years later, though, like installations. But really cool thing, though.
I threw out my DVD player, so I can't watch any of your old highlights anymore.
I think we just got rid of, boy, I swear. Shafe, Kayla, get a bucket. Shafe, get a towel. I'll get the table. We're going to waterboard him.
I got ice.
You got ice. Make it even worse for him then. Exactly. Yeah, don't matter what the ice is for. No. Okay, it's to wake you up.
Hey, speaking of family chiming in, my brother Wes texts me and says Ramon is pretty much my age, so yes, he's old.
No, Wes, don't buy into this, man. God, that's why you just now. No. That's why you just now able. That's why you just now able to get a rental car. You little young punk.
Yeah, I'm getting a rental car today for the first time.
You better drive safe, Will. The first time in a rental, that is.
Slay was giving me crap because he was like. Him and Brent the other day were like, we got to get you a big, we got to get a big SUV. And I was like, I don't know if I could drive that. Like, I don't think I've never driven anything
really
bigger than like my car that I have, which is like a small SUV.
Yeah.
And Brent was like, oh, buddy, you're so high maintenance. They're just shaking their head at me.
Here's the thing. If you were driving a big car, like I drove a van every summer, I'd come back and do a kids camp. I drove a van full of 16 screaming kids.
Get out.
But you just with Slay alone, that's like 16 kids.
16 kids.
Yeah.
100%.
What is the conversion rate of screaming children to one Ron Slay? 615-737-1045.
I hope all he does this weekend with you is just lay back in the passenger seat and direct you. And just turn right here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the opposite of just, hey, you got the keys, buddy. You just tell me where we're going, all right? I ain't helping
roof,
you.
though.
I'm sitting right here.
Better have no roof.
We'll peel that roof
car
back
will not
like a
contain a
can.
ceiling.
No, will not contain a can, man. But no, I did used to watch film on VHS, too, in high school.
Man, I love VHS.
You feel me? And they're actually being worth some money. Now, you know one thing that Ben does, and he's been doing, almost every our old quarterback, almost every DVD. I just got a Ben who is what they would say.
You just said Ben, like
I know.
dropping.
Well, in my name, he's just Ben, but I mean, you get it.
Yeah.
Almost every DVD and VHS that he can get, he's buying and saving because there will be currency for
That's
that.
cool.
There will be people will start paying for that the way they do like old like vinyls.
I got my
and
Nintendo.
Stuff. Do you like
1980?
We had
six.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got my Xbox 360.
Get out of here. Get that fork going.
I almost threw something at Will, man. But we had a neighborhood garage sale this weekend.
I was being
Dudes
serious,
came up and just were simply looking for electronics. You guys got any electronics, old games? I'm like, you really think I'm going to give you this Nintendo so you can go flip this for triple the price? Beat it, buddy.
Yep.
So I had to tell them, like, no.
Coming up next, we continue the Friday Five, getting you ready for the football weekend. It is Kayla Anderson's first Friday Five.
Yay.
5 big questions and storylines going into the football weekend. It can be NFL. It can be college football. We give Kayla Anderson the floor when we come back. Final hour of the week, and we'll see if Ramon throws anything else at me as the show continues. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Oh, my God, no.
Friday 5 edition. It's the Ramon, Kayla, and Will Friday edition. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. 615-737-1045 is how you get in on the conversation in the final hour. Will Bolnick, Ramon Foster, and Kayla Anderson with you. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. So, Kayla, it is your first Friday 5 today. We have given the biggest college football games, the biggest NFL games that Ramon and I are looking for. Now we have your biggest questions of the entire football weekend, and we will begin with number 5.
Yeah, so I want to refresh this too, because now you guys kind of touched on the big one. So in a way, I'm kind of recapping a little, but just making it my own. And then I wanted to bring in a local tie.
Okay.
Just because I think that's important. We've got to get some of those headlines in there. So
I like it.
Starting at number 5, Ramon talked about this earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm definitely looking at Kenny Pickett after his first game when they pretty much told him, we are giving you the reins here. It's time to go, young fella.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the greatest of starts.
No.
But when you pretty much said, we're going to go with you, you got to continue to roll with that guy. So I'm interested to see how Kenny Pickett responds. This week, what I liked about Pickett, this guy's got a little bit of swagger.
Yep.
He was talking to the media this week. He's not backing down. They're going up against a good Bills team. He knows that he's got to come in there with some confidence. And so I'm just looking to see what he can do. I'm not expecting him to carry the Steelers to a win.
Right.
But I think I want to see how he adjusts from last week, getting his first start, into this week and really seeing what he can do against a team like this. Because really for right now, the future, it's him.
It's him. Yeah, there's no going back to Mitch Trubisky at this point.
No.
With that being said, I was telling somebody about Kenny Pickett getting his shot was him going into the game last week against the Jets. The initial punch of the game was done. He didn't run out of the tunnel. There was no first half. None of those types of things happened. So watching him start a game, Kayla, is what's going to be most important, and how he spread this ball out to those wide receivers and command the offense. So, yeah, really good point there.
For me, for him, you have to stay away from hurting yourself down the road with him and getting him hit so much and just hurting his confidence so much that he's playing a bit more shy. I mean, we've seen that happen here with Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Thrown into the fire too early, and it ends up hurting his career down the road, in my opinion, just simply because his confidence, but also the injuries and the hits that he took started to pile up, and there was no coming back for him in a Titans uniform at that point. Certainly, that's always where my mind first goes when a quarterback like this makes their first big start and has that first big moment. It's easy to forget, though, that George Pickens was a Rookie of the Year favorite on betting-wise going into the season.
That's right.
Because of how good is he going to be when Kenny Pickett gets a chance?
He's a number 1 wide receiver.
And I think those two guys together, the chemistry that they had in training camp and just the two rookies working with one another and working their way up together on that depth chart, I think that's really interesting to me. Whatever the over is on George Pickens' receiving total, I'm taking it.
And I'm sorry, Pickett and Pickens.
George Pickens?
Yeah. You could have a field day with that.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that's fun.
It's content.
Okay, so at number 4, I'm going to the Red River rivalry.
Okay.
And I'm going to say I want to see the return of the mullet, first and foremost. How's that thing been shaping up over the past few weeks? Okay? I want to see how Quinn Ewers comes back after really, I think we were all thinking, okay, this guy has something here in that first game against Alabama, where he was able to kind of showcase what we all expected Quinn Ewers to be when he won the starting job.
I'm with you.
During camp, and then you get hurt early on. He's been out. He's been on the sideline, but he should be ready to go. That's what all reports are indicating. I just want to see where he is at and if he can bring Texas back in the mix, because at the start of the season, remember, Texas was earning some praise. And they were definitely, it's like, okay, Sarkisian has them going in the right direction. Finally, can we see Texas back on the map? Because like you said, over the past few years, it's been, Texas is back, but they're not really back. I think Quinn Ewers is a guy who can get them back in the mix, at least in terms of the Big 12 right now and where they're at.
And I think this game is so big for him too, Quinn Ewers, because You leave Ohio State, the number one prospect, clearly by a mile when it comes down to last year. Then you transfer after year after not playing midterm. You were in a quarterback battle at Texas this year, too. That was really closer than most thought.
Yeah.
Got injured. Now is your opportunity to be the savior for this team. Winning a rivalry for him. I don't want to necessarily say it's going to make or break his career at Texas, but I think there's pressure because behind him is a guy that can back up and start for him, but next year it's Arch Manning.
Exactly. So do it now.
Do it. Boy,
Become
you
a
better do it
legend
now.
before the guy who's already kind of a legend steps on
There
campus.
we go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about Caleb Williams' ascension to being one of the top quarterbacks in college football started with this game last year.
Yep.
Caleb Williams became that guy
USC now.
because of the way he led Oklahoma back in that game in the fourth quarter. That was a crazy game. I mean, the big lead early, the comeback, and then the late drive for Oklahoma and the long touchdown to win it late. I mean, Caleb Williams is now seen as one of the best quarterbacks in college football because of the way he announced himself on that stage.
Yeah.
So Quinn Ewers had that opportunity against Alabama, take it away from him with the injury. I think he kind of gets a mulligan again for this to be his.
And a mullet.
Yeah, I know.
That's right. A mulligan.
Mullet.
One might say.
I like it.
To have his coming out party again against Oklahoma.
All right, number 3. Okay, I got to give the Philadelphia Eagles a little bit of tension here because I hadn't. I'll say at the beginning of the season, I was doubting Jalen Hurts. I just didn't know if I had seen a lot enough out of him to say, okay, this guy is really going to rocket up to the top this year. And so far, he has done just that. He worked his booty off in the offseason. He put in the work. And we even saw, as much as Titans fans hate to see this, we even saw the workouts with A.J. Brown. Yeah. He was building that chemistry with his guys early on, and now it's paying off. I mean, this is a hard-working guy, and I can't take anything away from that. So he's been able to prove it so far. But, you know, with them being the only undefeated team right now in the NFL, the Cardinals have had the Eagles number. So, and they're on the road. They're not in Philly. And I know this is a Cardinals team that everybody wants to dismiss, and I get it. It hasn't played out well for Cliff Kingsbury there. But it's something, you got these two mobile quarterbacks. I like that head-to-head kind of matchup. But can the Eagles remain the only undefeated team in the NFL this weekend?
I'm with you. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's one of those guys now that's what happened at Bama, then go to Oklahoma and actually be, you know, kind of stepped on a little bit when he got to Philly. He's like, well, what is he? I think that helped him be the pro that he is now. You can see he is the leader of that Philadelphia locker room, and that's kind of cool to see. So I'm with you, but you're going up against one of those mobile, just spotty type of quarterbacks, Kyler, this weekend. And to that point of, can you contain him?
Yep.
Excuse me, like as bad as he is, as bad as Kyler is and the stuff around him, I think Kyler rises up to the occasion against people that he knows well.
Baby
him
Yoda.
and Jalen Hurts are just like, I'm with you. I'm side-eyeing Arizona this weekend because of those points right there.
He's not playing in quite as much Call of Duty this week.
No, he's not.
There we go. Yep.
The black uniforms and the black helmets making their debut for Arizona in this game. I think it's a cautionary tale buying a lot of the Eagles hype simply because this time last year, the Cardinals were in the exact position the Eagles are in.
You think it's the same thing?
I actually don't.
Okay.
I don't think the Eagles are fraudulent.
I
don't think the Eagles are fraudulent like the Cardinals were this time last year because I think they have more avenues for success than Arizona did.
Yeah.
Last year, it was Kyler Murray cooking, and as soon as that wide receiving core gets banged up, they didn't have that next option. James Conner's fine. Chase Edmonds at that point was good.
Yeah.
I think Miles Sanders is a really forgotten piece of that Philadelphia offense. He was terrific for them in their win last week. I just think people forget how good of a back he is and how versatile he is within that Philadelphia offense. But the question for me is, for them sustaining their success, it's going to hinge on the health of A.J. Brown.
Yeah, it is.
We've seen it so many times here.
And so far, it's been okay. It's been good, but there's a lot of football to be played.
What's crazy on their reports, they just got him as rest days.
Yeah.
AJ?
Yeah.
I mean, is that a surprise?
No, it's not. But it's very interesting what they're willing to do for a guy like him that needs those days to just get him to game day if that's their plan for him.
Exactly.
I don't think they're as fragile as you say they are as far as Philly goes. And I don't think you're saying Philly's fragile, meaning that there's a cliff the same way that Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals fell off theirs last year. Cliff Berry
They fell off a cliff.
There we go. That's
we
what I
got
was
it all
trying to.
today.
Yeah,
we
now
got
we
it
got
all.
it.
You tossed it up, and I spiked it down.
Now, again, the teams they beat aren't just world beaters in the sense of, okay, yeah, they beat some good ones. Jacksonville, again, they entered that game and beat them the way they were supposed to at the end. Commanders, not that great, but they beat them 28-4. Minnesota ended up getting them, and we see.
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
That one caught me off guard a little
But
bit.
the highest scoring offense in the NFL, the Detroit Lions, they went toe-to-toe with them and beat them.
It's wild.
They've been tested, is what I'd say.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's going to be a good one. So look out for that. Okay, I'm bringing it local now. We're bringing it back because we're going into the weekend. People want to know here. Man, the Vols going on the road in Baton Rouge in a real football environment in terms of like crazy fans. And yeah, it's not at night, but Will's brought it to our attention. They can still be crazy. I mean, they might as well party all night into the afternoon. It's 24/7.
They are
8-0.
They're 8-0 in games that kick off before noon since 2000.
Wow. Exactly. So for you guys, I just wanted to bring this up because I really do think that this is a huge game for the Vols because they're earning a lot of respect, not just in the SEC, but around the country in terms of if they are for real, if they are getting back on track as being Tennessee. Okay. And I think that this game is huge for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be closer than people think.
And that's okay.
I really think it is.
But,
and this is where Ramon's going to smile and shake his head at me and think this is my battered Vols syndrome popping up. I don't think it's that as much as it is the respect I have for the first SEC road environment that this team is going to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'm at with that.
That's where the big question is.
Pittsburgh was a good environment, but it looked like a bowl game because it was 40% Tennessee fans.
I'm with that.
Now, there's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans in Baton Rouge this weekend from all accounts I've heard and talking to people who have already been on their way as of last night who are making the trip. So I think there's certainly a good Tennessee contingent in the building, but I think ultimately, right. Jaden Daniels and Hendon Hooker are the two quarterbacks of the SEC without picks this year. Jaden Daniels with six touchdowns to no picks. Hendon Hooker, obviously, the well-documented stat of 45 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I think this game comes down to a couple matchups in the slot on each side. Kayshon Boutte having 97 yards this season, I believe. I know he doesn't have 100 yet and doesn't have a touchdown this year. Him against Tamarian McDonald for Tennessee on the defensive side, I think is the X-factor matchup for the Vols defensively. Because I know that LSU has freshmen left and right tackles starting together for the first time since 1985. It doesn't really matter who your left tackle and right tackle is, though, if you can just throw it up and trust your wide receiver to make a play and beat Tennessee's corners, which have not been up to the task.
That's the weakness
so far this year. The weakness for Jaden Daniels, Ramon, has been he doesn't push the ball downfield. He doesn't force the explosive passing game vertically against defenses. We heard similar things about Anthony Richardson, and he threw for over 400 yards against Tennessee. So that is, to me, anytime I see there's an athletic running quarterback that's playing against the Vols, Tennessee could be a 21-point favorite in this game, and I would still be a little bit cautious just simply because of the nature of who Jaden Daniels is and the skill set that he has.
No, I'm not going to push back on that one just because it's SEC ball, man. If we go in and win by 10 points, that's a big win.
Absolutely.
On the road.
By 1 point, it's a big win.
That's the reason I was asking earlier. I was like, is this team mature enough to handle this environment? Because that matters. You know what I'm saying? I think having Hendon back there definitely helps a whole lot, man. But the only thing I worry about this game is, I'll be real with you, those two freshman tackles. I think you can rush and try to beat them so much because Pierce, you got a lot of experience. Because Tyler, you got a lot of experience.
Joshua Joseph stepping up into a bigger role.
You know what I'm saying? Like watching that be a thing to where you overrun the sack. You allow Jaden Daniels to get outside the pocket and extend plays, and that's where I worry. And I need more from the D tackles than I do from the D ends this week.
Omari Thomas.
You see what I'm saying? Because if they flush him, Jaden Daniels, I need somebody to be there to cover until the fast guys get there to take him down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying I wish y'all the best this weekend.
You know
I hope we're talking about a victory Monday for your Big Orange. And hopefully you think the same for my Cougs against the Trojans.
I do.
Okay, my number one, and I'm going to do this because it has been the talk the last 3 weeks, folks. Right here in Nashville, in Middle Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans not scoring in the second half has to change. look, Todd Downing, offensive coordinator this week, when we talked to him, he was asked the question, just like every player was asked the question, and they're sick of us asking the questions. But until it changes, it's going to be on repeat. And Todd Downing said we're on the cusp of breaking through in the second half and getting points on the board, something that they haven't done in 3 straight games, only scoring 7 in the second half of that first game against the Giants. So I think the biggest thing right now is just for this Titans team to go into the bye week having that off their back and being able to put points up on the board. Look, this Titans team is scoring 90% in the red zone. That's tops in the NFL. And that is all based on pretty much what they've done early on. So what about if they can do that in the second half, get in the red zone and put up points? They could be adding to that real quick, but they've got to find a way.
I saw yesterday. I sent it to our group chat. I was like, why is Todd Downing trending?
Yeah.
And then I saw your tweet about what he said about getting started in the second half, and fans were really losing their minds.
Of course they were.
Getting started for what? Like, what do you mean waiting to get started? Like, nobody wanted to hear that yesterday.
Nope. I knew that was going to go over that way.
Yeah, that went wild yesterday. Where you at on Todd Downing and that quote, Will?
I think ultimately I just need to see a clear plan B for the Titans emerge out of this game. I think this is as much a personnel conversation as it is a play calling conversation when it comes to this Titans team, because Chigga has shown you he's taking steps.
Yeah.
Kyle Phillips is no longer on the injury report.
Nope. He's healthy.
Robert Woods has shown you that he's taking steps to be this team's number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
And Robert Woods has been a 1B secondary, third option when LA was just absolutely loaded there at one point.
Right.
But Robert Woods can be that 1A and 1B, especially with Traylon Burks out. I want to see who replaces Traylon Burks' snaps in this game, how ultimately the Titans decide to divvy up the snaps that Traylon's very likely not going to get from everything that we know of him being out with the turf toe reported by Ian Rappaport earlier this week. So I think for me, it just comes down to who is that second guy that steps up and takes the pressure off of Derrick Henry in the second half. And Rhett Bryan mentioned, I was listening to them on Titans Tonight the other night here on The Zone on Titans Radio on Wednesday night, saying that Derrick Henry is so close to breaking that big 40, 50, 60.
I asked him about it.
Yeah.
100%. And we had the conversation here on this show, like you mentioned. You asked him about it, and I think ultimately that is the difference between the Titans hitting in the second half and not hitting in the second half, because if they get up by 2 touchdowns at halftime like they have the past couple of weeks and they get that back-breaking big run, this Washington team will roll over and let
They'll
you
wanna
have it.
fight
They
out
will
there.
fold if you do that to them in the second half because they have been the opposite, obviously, like we've talked about all week of the Titans. They're a second-half team, not a first-half team.
I'll say this real quick about Todd Downing and what he said about being that close. Offenses, and I said this on 3HL yesterday, offenses do take a little bit more time. You can't view this Titans team as Buffalo. You can't view them as Miami. You can't view them as Philly. You can't view them as one of these high-powered Kansas City type of offense. You got to say our team is a slow metric. Like the way we're developing, the way you got to have all 11 guys on the same page is something that is necessary for this team to be good in that second half too, whether it's play calling, whether it's a block or two here. So I'm actually on the side of Todd Downing this weekend and believing
I'm
that.
fine with that.
Yeah, we've been there before. It's like, what does it take? Like, I'm with him on that. I'll take that comment and roll with it, Kayla.
All right.
I like it.
There you go.
Friday 5. And when we come back, one final segment of the week. The opening week of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We give you our Toyota keys to the game for the Tennessee Titans, as well as a visit, of course, as we do every Friday, from Macho Man Todd Titan. Getting you hyped for your weekend. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Running into the weekend on the Friday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Reminder to check out the tailgate tip of the week. We're looking for the paper plane. You can go by Maryland Farms Wine and Spirits. Ask for the paper plane, courtesy of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Pick that up. We're going to try some of that after the show today, is why I mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Excuse me, what?
They're bringing by a paper plane for us to try. Yeah.
Get your mind right, Shafe.
Your Friday Night Football just got a little more lit. No, I'm just kidding. You got plenty. It's
got a lot more entertaining.
Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson with you. Jonathan Schaefer, are you excited to be back at just a football game?
Oh,
tonight?
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw you guys in the Gallatin game against Mount Juliet earlier this season, but
that's right.
It's always good to be back out on the field.
Absolutely. We have our keys to the game to finish off today's edition.
Yes, sir.
Brought to you by your Middle Tennessee Toyota dealers. So essentially, Kayla, the exercise here is 2 keys from each of us for the game on Sunday. Titan specific. Ramon, we will start with you.
Keep the top on scary Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let him be a reason why. The last 2 games we've seen the Titans take away the numero uno weapon from both teams that they've played as of late. Don't let this week be a slip-up when it comes down to a number 1 guy like Terry McLaurin hurting you down the field, man. Defense, Caleb, if it's you. Christian Fulton, if you're following him. Either way, that guy is nice, man. So don't diminish what their record is by what the talent it actually is on that team.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yes,
absolutely.
ma'am.
So my whole mentality this week, and if I were a player putting myself into this position, you're going into this game, leaving it all out there. And I'm not talking about this is the biggest game of your life, but you're going into the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go out there, put your foot on the gas pedal, and keep it on the gas pedal. None of this conservative in the second half. Let's go get it.
Yeah, I like it.
Tighten up! Gas pedal!
Gas pedal. That's right. For me, it's just tackle. Tackle in open space.
Yep.
We gave the next-gen stat earlier this week that Carson Wentz's time to throw has decreased from 3.14 seconds to 2.92 against Detroit to 2.6 against Philadelphia and 2.58 against Dallas. Sam Cosme's likely out, the right tackle. Sadiq Charles replaces Trey Turner on the inside at right guard. You've got 3 starting centers who have played for the Washington Commanders this season. The MO from them is going to be get the ball out of your hands quickly and trust that Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin can beat your defensive backs in space. Don't give them easy chunk yardage simply on dump downs over the middle. That's the way that they could beat you in this game.
Yeah. That was smart right there. I like that.
Thank you.
Well,
Take the surprise out your
key,
voice,
another quick key for mine, because I always lose a set, man, is make Carson Wentz look like Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Period. That's make him look like Matt Ryan last night or Nathaniel Ryan last night.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was
okay,
it.
so I say just keep Henry going. Let the king continue to eat, because you all want to see Derrick Henry get into his stride, and this is when it starts to happen at this time of the season. He's mad. He's proving people wrong. Like, let's get the guy going.
Yeah, with that.
For me, I want to see one of the 2 rookie pass catchers step up in a big way and be one of the leading targets, either Chikakonkwo or Kyle Phillips. I want to take the next step. We saw Chikakonkwo take that step a week ago. Kyle Phillips, with his shoulder problem, is no longer listed on the injury report. If he is a full go, I want to see him get close to who he was in the Week 1 loss to New York. 4 or 5 catches, 5 or 6 targets in this game. The ability to give Ryan Tannehill a different look on third downs. I think Tannehill has been missing that consistent force on third downs and picking up that yardage, because Austin Hooper was that in training camp, and for whatever reason, Austin Hooper has not clicked within this offense in the regular season the way we expected him to, based on what we saw in practice and in training camp. There's still plenty of time for that. I think in order to open up those avenues and open up that element of the offense, I want to see Kyle Phillips or Chikakonkwo take that next step again for those rookies.
I think it'll be Chig before it will be Kyle, because Kyle got to get back in good graces, man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
He got to get back in good graces.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So that's week number 1.
There we go.
Boys and girls.
Solid, man.
Wow.
This is. I know we say the fastest 4 hours. Today has been a blur.
It really has.
Yeah, today was one of the faster shows we've done. I'll say it probably was the fastest show we've done, honestly.
Yeah, this is like your fastest mile.
Ugh.
What was your fastest mile? Sub 4?
Far too slow.
I was no, Lord, no. I was never sub 4.
That's going to make us
You was
sick.
never sub 4?
No.
What, a
You know
3?
how many people run sub 4?
Not even on a 1 mile? Like a 1 mile like loop.
What?
You never did a track like under 4 minutes.
1 mile?
Yeah.
No.
He's
There's
like, I
only
did
like
3.
a couple hundred people that have ever done that.
Watch this. That explains why you was a walk-on.
All right. All right.
Oh.
Anyway. I mean, you're not
That's
wrong.
what calling me. That's what
I
calling
can't
me.
argue with you.
I told you, Kayla. I set him up right there.
Man.
My fastest mile was
Fierce.
I was 4:30. That's my
Oh,
fastest.
okay.
Wasn't healthy my senior year. Would have been better. Anyway, enough about me.
4:30.
Titans in Washington, D.C. this weekend, and it is time to send you into your weekend courtesy of Macho Man Todd Titan. Titans and Commanders, and Todd gets us ready to go on the way out. Todd, take it away.
Oh, yeah. Just like that, 2 wins in a row, yeah. And that streak is going to continue on Sunday because Derrick Henry, the king, is coming, and he's demanding that you pay the taxes. That's right. And he's coming to collect because we're storming the Capitol, yeah. And no taxation without representation, yeah. And we're well represented on Sunday, yeah. Because even the president himself cannot save you, Washington Commanders, because the votes are already in. The elbow comes from the top. Who run it? We run it. It's time to tighten up. Dig it.